White Sox won their series with the Braves following an 8-1 rout in the rubber match in Atlanta. Sox skipper Pedro Grifol says they've got some momentum after winning a series against the best team in baseball.
For me, that's probably the best team in baseball. You know, they have little weaknesses. They don't have any weaknesses, in my opinion. So it's a good series for us. It was a good series.
Lewis Robert Jr. went 4 for 5 with a monster home run. Dylan Cease earned his first win in several weeks. Cubs got knocked around for 14 hits in an 11-5 loss to Boston at Wrigley Field.
Pretty well executed slider low and away. Just put a really good swing on it. And then the double he also hit, did exactly what I was trying to do with the sinker in on his hands, and he just, was able to get it down the third base line. So just sometimes you just got to tip your cap.
Justin Steele was charged with his third loss after allowing 6 runs. Tennessee's Titans have won the DeAndre Hopkins sweepstakes. He'll sign a 2-year deal. The Bears start NFL training camp on July 26th. That's right around the corner. First preseason game is August 12. Rory McIlroy celebrating another tour victory, finishing on top of the leaderboard at the Scottish Open. The Open at Royal Liverpool is this weekend. The news, a service of Tom Mirabali Insurance. No matter the time of year, you can purchase a PPO health insurance plan that eliminates the mandatory maternity coverage. Get started at healthplanchicago.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The best conversations happen with a cigar in one hand and a fine drink in the other. Join Dennis Prager live in Chicago for Cigar Night on Thursday, August 24th at Klein Creek Golf Club in Winfield. Presented by Wilkins Mazda and Wilkins Hyundai in Elmhurst. Dennis will be joined by AM 560's Dan Proft and Sean Thompson for an evening of cigar smoking and good conversation. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. Sponsored by healthinsurancementors.com and by Blue Star Security.
Ever notice how most people never leave online reviews unless they're really mad? And they want the entire world to know how bad their experience was. Rick from Forever Remodeling here, and we average 4.8 stars on 144 Google reviews. I know what you're thinking. Sure, 132 people gave you 5 stars, but what about those 12 who didn't? Glad you asked. 3 of them are 1-star reviews from people we never even did business with. Most of the rest are 4-star reviews from people who loved us and said things like, "We are thrilled and would recommend Forever Remodeling to anyone." So why only 4 stars? One customer sums it up, "I only gave 4 stars because I never give 5. Fair enough, I guess. Google foreverremodeling.com and see for yourself. The reviews are all right there. We do kitchens, baths, basements, whole homes, and additions. Check us out at foreverremodeling.com or call 847-809-3355. That's foreverremodeling.com.
What does it mean to be pro-life? Picture women living in a welcoming, family-like setting during and after an unexpected pregnancy, going to school or working, learning life skills. Picture a caring Christian staff who walk through these challenges, providing support and guidance. Picture a community of faith-filled supporters who answer the call to support life. That's pro-life at Redeeming Life's Maternity Home Ministry. We are a Christian organization founded to support pregnant women in unexpected pregnancies by offering a home, help, and hope during pregnancy and up to a year postpartum. We are opening a maternity home in suburban Chicago in 2023 and welcome you to learn more about how you can support God's gift of life by supporting women who courageously choose life for their unborn babies. Visit rlom.org for info and opportunities to help furnish this new maternity house and provide a home, help, and hope. Get involved to support life. Visit rlom.org today.
5:12. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of CompariOnInsurance.com. Even though they're local experts, Comparion offers a wide range of choices from national carriers. Comparion Insurance Agency, local agents, expert advice. I-55 between Weber Road and Route 126 southbound. You've got overnight construction. 2 right lanes will be blocked until 6 a.m. Watch out for a vehicle fire as you're traveling southbound on 165 just across the border in Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Hazy sun and less humid. Smoke from those distant wildfires causing some air quality issues today. High near 80. Clear tonight, low 62. And then partly sunny tomorrow. A high again 80. More humid on Wednesday. A thunderstorm. The high near 84. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
67 at O'Hare. 70 along the lakefront. 69 at Midway. And your Lake Michigan water temp is 70. Your next news update, 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer starts next on AM 560, The Answer.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
So what's the trouble here, mister?
I don't understand what happened. I checked my stuff in Chicago, and when we landed in L.A., I came to baggage claim, and there it was, my $10,000 Carnival analyzer in pieces, completely trashed.
Just the facts, buddy. What did you have it packed in?
Well, just the box it came in, but there was all this foam and thick cardboard. It looks sturdy enough.
That's what they all think, pal, till it's too late.
What am I gonna do now? My boss is gonna kill me.
Here's some good advice for you. The next time you transport anything valuable, put it in a Star case, leading manufacturer of custom reusable shipping cases.
So where do I get a Star case?
Now you're getting smart, bub. You can find everything you need to know to order one direct at starcase.com or call 800-822-STAR, where a friendly, knowledgeable sales engineer will be glad to help you design the custom case you need. That's starcase.com or 800-822-7827.
Addiction can be a lonely and difficult journey, but you don't have to go through it alone. Simple Steps is a faith-based international addictions recovery program that is here to help provide the support and resources you need. We offer a safe, confidential, and supportive community where you can find hope, healing, and a path forward. With 20 years of success, Simple Steps provides a framework for recovery that is grounded in faith and focused on the transformative power of God's love. Simple Steps meets at 7 p.m. every Friday night at the Quentin Road Baptist Church in Lake Zurich, Illinois. Whether you are struggling with addiction yourself or have a loved one who is, Simple Steps is here to help. Visit our website today at simplestepsrecovery.com or call us at 800-78-GRACE to learn more and get involved. Together, we can take the simple steps towards a life of freedom from addiction. Again, that's simplestepsrecovery.com or 800-78-GRACE.
Rick Borick, host of Unleash Your Wealth, talks about the importance of tax planning in retirement.
A qualified financial planner can take you through all the steps to show you every single legal way you can use to reduce and minimize your state income taxes across the board so that, again, you keep more of your money and your family keeps more of your money.
Unleash Your Wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and our new time at 2 p.m. here on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Jerry Boyer for townhall.com. BlackRock is a Wall Street behemoth managing more of your pension dollars than any other company in the world. It led the way in pulling corporate America left by pushing ESG, environmental, social, and governance investing. This approach takes the focus off of the fiduciary responsibility to put the financial performance of your retirement funds above all else and shifts it towards various social goals. The backlash has been severe. Recently, the CEO of the firm, Larry Fink, distanced himself from the investment trend he himself fostered. He announced a rebranding away from ESG, saying that he was embarrassed to have been involved in this political debate and said that ESG had been weaponized by the far left and the far right. Well, the left used it as a weapon. The right is just defending us against that. But, Mr. Fink, is the solution not obvious? Stay out of political debates and you won't find yourself ashamed of the political debates that you're in.
You can't live forever, but your legacy can. For over 185 years, Families have trusted Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago, with 47 locations throughout Cook and Lake counties, to set their legacies in stone. A prepaid cemetery plan locks in today's prices and safeguards against rising inflation. Visit CatholicCemeteryChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 to schedule a free consultation today.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So the big news this weekend was the Family Leadership Summit in Des Moines, sort of officially kicking off the run-up to the Iowa caucus, even though we're, 5 months out. Trump not in attendance. The other major Republican candidates for president were. Also, DeSantis, just as a quick aside, DeSantis all of a sudden starting to do more interviews. Sitting down with Jake Tapper, with Howard Kurtz. He's starting to get out and about a bit more. Interesting. Nothing wrong, but he's reducing staff. He's cut some staffers, and he's making more of a foray into cable news interviews. Interesting, as we were talking about his curious absence from those platforms over the last several weeks after his announcement.
Big sit down with Jake Tapper. I think it's tomorrow night on CNN.
So back to the Family Leadership Summit, though. We'll get to DeSantis because, of course, he's included. So the interviews that a lot of people are talking about, given that Tucker was the interrogator, Asa Hutchinson and Mike Pence. Let's start with Pence, the former vice president. So this exchange between Tucker and Pence on Ukraine, I mean, and I got to say, conservative media overhypes these things too. I'm so sick of everything is a throwdown. This is a career ender. Everything is a bombshell. Conservative media does that hyping silliness too. And there's just, it's just sort of, as I said, silly because it is belied by what you actually see, all the hyperventilating. But the difference of opinion on Ukraine, which comes as no surprise to anyone who's heard Pence on the topic and Tucker on the topic. So I don't know why putting the two of them together was some sort of bombshell, but here's how that exchange went.
And even after that heartless, unprovoked invasion, which Joe Biden actually said, we don't know what we'd do if it was a small invasion. I mean, he signaled incredible weakness, especially after that disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. And all along the way, the Biden administration has been slow in providing military support. Make no mistake about this. We promised them 33 Abrams tanks in January. I heard again 2 weeks ago in Ukraine, they still don't have them. We've been telling them we'll train their F-16 pilots, but now they're saying maybe January we'll let somebody transfer some jets.
I'm sorry, Mr. Vice President, have you, I know you're running for president. You are distressed that the Ukrainians don't have enough American tanks. Every city in the United States has become much worse over the past 3 years.
Yeah.
Drive around. There's not one city that's gotten better in the United States. And it's visible. Our economy has degraded. The suicide rate has jumped. Public filth and disorder and crime have exponentially increased. And yet, your concern is that the Ukrainians, a country most people can't find on a map, who've received tens of billions of U.S. tax dollars, don't have enough tanks. I think it's a fair question to ask, where's the concern for the United States in that?
Well, it's not my concern. Tucker, I've heard that routine from you before, but that's not my concern. I'm running for president of the United States because I think this country's in a lot of trouble. I think Joe Biden has weakened America at home and abroad. And as President of the United States, we're going to restore law and order in our cities. We're going to secure our border. We're going to get this economy moving again. And we're going to make sure that we have men and women on our courts at every level that will stand for the right to life and defend all the God-given liberties enshrined in our Constitution. Anybody that says that we can't be the leader of the free world and solve our problems at home has a pretty small view of the greatest nation on earth. We can do both.
We can do both. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. And if you saw Mike Pence walking in a parade after that interview, where he said, essentially said, big cities aren't his concern.
Yeah. Twice.
Did you see the girl who rifle shotted him with a water balloon right in the head? I mean, seriously. There's YouTube.
Really?
I mean, this is from, it had to be, I'm just impressed by the arm. This girl, young girl, I mean, it had to be 40 yards. And she lasered a water balloon that exploded right on his head. Honestly, you know, the Ricketts family should be looking at that girl. But anyway, I digress. As to what Mike Pence actually said about Ukraine and what Tucker Carlson said about Ukraine. Your thoughts?
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment. You're right, though, people. Tucker Carlson is ending careers today. Like, Twitter went crazy, and conservatives did, saying, you know, I would never say that's not my concern. And he said it twice about crime and, you know, how big cities are disintegrating before us.
Well, he also said in the response that, you know, we can do both, the we can do both answer that, you know, restore law and order in the big cities. So I think it's more, you know, his concern wasn't his concern, the criticism. So if you could just separate that out, the more important question is, rather than trying to parse Pence's words, the domestic versus international. And is this a choice we must make, or is it, as Pence said, something where we can do both? We can take care of our responsibilities at home. We can address domestic problems and also still be the world's superpower. We can still provide the leadership in the world that the world desperately needs, I should say. I got to tell you, you know, the Tucker Carlson riff on that is not persuasive, regardless of what you want to say on Ukraine or on Pence. First of all, whether or not most people can find Ukraine on the map is not the basis on which we make national security decisions. Okay? And I know that's just sort of a handle, but it's a tired one. Secondly, let me ask a more important question. The cities that are disintegrating, as Tucker is describing them, and of course he's right about that. We talk about this routinely. We're living in one of them. Some of us are. And so I'm sorry. So what is your advocacy? What do you want us to do? So we should spend the money we're spending in Ukraine. Instead, we should drop ship $150 billion to America's cities to be distributed by BLM Brandon and Eric Adams and Karen Bass and the like. You know, it's one of those things that's it's sort of a throwaway line. What about the home front? Okay, well, what do you want to do in the home front? You're focused specifically on big cities that are disintegrating under their own weight. And what are they spending money on? They're spending money on putting people in this country illegally up in hotels and providing food. And they're spending money on reparations committees and pouring more money into failing schools that will continue to fail at ever-increasing prices. So that money that's being sent to Ukraine, you want that turned around and sent to America's big cities because they're disintegrating? Well, what will that do? It's a money problem in Chicago and New York and L.A., Memphis, New Orleans, Atlanta, D.C., of course, Minneapolis. Of course it's not. So what kind of choice is that? Send the Abrams tanks to Ukraine, to Kyiv, or send it to Chicago? By the way, the other point about this in terms of defending Pence a little bit here is that when he's saying the Abrams tanks haven't gotten there, what he's saying is we made a commitment and we haven't lived up to that commitment yet. It's not about just
Biden hasn't lived up to that.
Well, right. The country. Right. Exactly. A Biden administration. And so it's not just, we need to just continue to willy-nilly send armaments there. It's we promised them this in order to affect that, and we haven't lived up to our promise, so how can they live up to the potential of repelling the Russian invaders? (312-642-5600) turnkey.pro answer line 64636DA turnkey.pro text line. Tom in Mount Greenwood, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Follow-up question. As Tucker Carlson, why aren't we doing both?
Yeah. Why aren't we leading at home and abroad?
No, yeah. Well, why aren't we doing it at home? More importantly, is my question.
Well, right. But, I mean, the answer is look who's in charge of the cities that you're describing as disintegrating, as lawless.
I'm going to figure it out. He's running for president.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Tom. I mean, well, that's my point. And to Tom's point, that's fair. That should have been Mike Pence's response. The thing with Pence, I like Pence, okay. The thing with him, and I think he's like an authentic Christian and all that, he's just not profound enough to pull off the stoic Christian statesman play. He's just not profound enough. You can be very soft-spoken and sort of have a room temperature, even vanilla personality, and still be really impressive, like have something important to say. Think of Victor Davis Hanson. Victor Davis Hanson isn't, pounding his fists on table. He is about as soft-spoken as you can get, but he has profound things to say about the issues of the day because he's steeped in history and culture, and he's thought about these things. Pence, to me, comes across as, very sort of inside the beltway, cut and paste bromides or position statements, sort of top-line position statements. He's not a guy who lays out an argument. And I think that's why he sort of comes across as flat, because it is flat. It's flat when you just take a position and you don't offer an explanation. It's flat when you don't, you just take a position and you don't provide any context. When you're not quick enough on the draw to push back against the Tucker Carlson and say, yeah, Tucker, okay, this money that shouldn't go to Ukraine that you want to go to a big city America, and what's that going to affect? Who's going to spend it? How are they going to spend it? What would you have us do to do for Chicago or New York what they clearly are not willing to do for themselves? It's a little bit more complicated than Tucker wants to present, isn't it? Nick, Northwest Side.
Yeah, thank you. These problems going on in our big American cities, they'd still be going on even if there was no Ukraine at all. In other words, if you looked at the map and there's never ever been a Ukraine, so I don't know what they're talking about. Shall we just allow Putin to push his way into any country he feels that he can get away with brutalizing them and take over? And there's 4 NATO countries that border Ukraine. What's going to be the relationship there if Putin takes over? And that's all I have to say for now. Thank you.
Thanks for the call, Nick. All right, coming up at 5:38, we'll continue this conversation because he also has Pence about J6 and fold in the exchange that he and ASA Hutchinson had about the trans issue. That was an important exchange as well, 5:38.
So call in 312-642-5600. But now let's head into the newsroom and say good morning to Mike Scott.
Dan and Amy, it is 69 degrees, a little air quality trouble in the Chicago area. In fact, over much of the Midwest today because of those Canadian wildfires. And we're watching in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. At least 5 have been killed as the result of a flash flood across that region. 2 children are still missing.
So far, we've had 7 missing people, 5 have been recovered. With the 5 deaths due to the floodwaters, the mass casualty incident like these, which we have never seen before, unbelievable and devastating to all the families involved. We are all grieving.
Local and federal authorities are assisting in the search and rescue. The male suspect accused of fatally shooting 4 in Georgia has been killed following a manhunt.
We have a couple of officers that are injured. The most severe has been life-flighted to Grady. He was hit in the rear of his back. He is conscious, breathing, and talking at this time frame.
Law enforcement tracked down the man to a localized area, exchanged gunfire with him twice. Suspect had been accused of killing 3 men and 1 woman Saturday, about 30 miles south of Atlanta. 6 are dead after a 2-vehicle crash in Washington state. It happened Sunday near Tacoma. 3 others are critically hurt. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan is defending the plan to provide cluster bombs to Ukraine.
Our moral authority has not derived from being a signatory to the Convention Against Cluster Munitions.
Appearing on NBC's Meet the Press, a 25-year-old woman who disappeared Thursday night after calling 911 from an Alabama highway has now been found alive. Carly Russell returned home late Saturday night into Sunday morning and remains hospitalized. The Illinois Department of Labor is investigating after a child was thrown from a carnival ride in Antioch.
I have 2 young daughters myself, and we're at these rides yesterday, so it hits close to home, and you never think something like this will happen, but we have to make sure that something like this never happens again.
Mayor Scott Gardner, the Illinois Supreme Court will rule tomorrow on whether to eliminate cash bail in the state. Kankakee County State's Attorney Jim Rowe challenged the case in March.
And for the sheriff has to ensure effectively the safety of every law enforcement officer under his charge. This act requires them to serve, for instance, notice to appear and then a warrant on 2 occasions. We've now doubled the number of instances where law enforcement is going to come into contact with perhaps a fugitive or a very dangerous individual.
A Kankakee County judge ruled in December that removing cash bail is unconstitutional. And an ethics watchdog is calling for an investigation into possible misuse of Illinois Congressman Sean Casten's Twitter account. Foundation for Accountability and Civic Trust filed the complaint requesting an investigation into whether Casten used official House video, photographs, and press releases on his campaign Twitter account. Similar accusations have been filed against Illinois Congressman Eric Sorensen. White Sox rout the Braves 8-1 and take 2 of 3 from the best team in baseball. Cubs got knocked around for 14 hits in an 11-5 loss to Boston. The News is a service of PKF Mueller's CPA professionals, business, and financial advisors, ready to help with record-keeping, budgeting, and more. Visit online at pkfmueller.com, pkfmueller.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The Sean Thompson Show.
There are millions upon millions of people of good character going to good states and low-rent Democrat scum going to Democrat states. After all, that's where they thrive. This is where this is acceptable. And it's being put as something that's normal. It's normal now to be an outright thief, scumbag traitor to your country.
The Sean Thompson Show, weekday afternoons at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
What does it mean to be pro-life? Picture women living in a welcoming, family-like setting during and after an unexpected pregnancy, going to school or working, learning life skills. Picture a caring Christian staff who walk through these challenges, providing support and guidance. Picture a community of faith-filled supporters who answer the call to support life. That's pro-life at Redeeming Life's Maternity Home Ministry. We are a Christian organization founded to support pregnant women in unexpected pregnancies by offering a home, help, and hope during pregnancy and up to a year postpartum. We are opening a maternity home in suburban Chicago in 2023 and welcome you to learn more about how you can support God's gift of life by supporting women who courageously choose life for their unborn babies. Visit rlom.org for info and opportunities to help furnish this new maternity house and provide a home, help, and hope. Get involved to support life. Visit rlom.org today.
This is Mike Gallagher. Sign up today for an unforgettable experience in Israel this October. Dennis Prager and I are traveling to the Holy Land on the Stand With Israel tour with our trusted partner, Inspiration Cruises and Tours. This is a trip of a lifetime. You don't want to miss it. Register today before it's too late. Visit standwithisraeltour.com, standwithisraeltour.com, or call 855-565-5519, 855-565-5519. And together, let's stand with Israel.
Hi, this is Carl Amari.
I'm Lisa Wolf. Join us every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. for all things entertainment on Hollywood 360.
If you love classic radio shows, The Shadow, Jack Benny, The Lone Ranger, Dragnet, Gunsmoke, and many more, we have them for you on Hollywood 360.
We'll also present trivia contests with prizes, showbiz news, celebrity interviews, games, and movie reviews.
So don't miss Hollywood 360 every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
If you speed, there are lots of sounds that you might hear, like the sound of your vehicle crashing, because eventually, speeding catches up with you.
5:38. Get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of MyPillow. Big news. MyPillow employees want to thank you by giving you the lowest price in history on their MyPillows. Queen size MyPillows, regular price $69.98, now $19.98 with promo code Liberty. Kennedy inbound 25, O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Stevenson in 25. From 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Inbound I-57 as you roll into the Dan Ryan, jammed up with an accident between 111th and 103rd. Vehicle fire in Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin. Two right lanes are blocked as you travel right at southbound on 94, right at Highway 165. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Less humid today, a little hazy sunshine, high 80, clear and 62 overnight. Practically perfect, partly sunny and 80 tomorrow. 70 at O'Hare, 72 along the lakefront, 62 in Aurora. Your next news update is at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. America First with Sebastian Gorka, today at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We're talking about Tucker Carlson's interviews of the various Republican candidates for president at the Family Leadership Summit in Des Moines this weekend, starting with Mike Pence. Of course, President Trump not in attendance. The other major candidates for the Republican nomination were. And we're talking about the exchange that Pence had with Tucker about Ukraine and support for Ukraine and their war against Russia, the war to repel the Russian invaders, and in part its treatment by conservative media. Taking your calls, 312-642-5600, TurnKey.pro answer line, 646-36DA, TurnKey.pro text line. Maybe for a little leavening on the subject, something funny, and for good comedy, unintentional though it may be. I always turn to Morning Joe. This is Joyka, Joe and Mika.
Oh, that's right. They're still together, right?
Wonderful love story.
Yes.
This is those two dingbats talking about the big guy over when he was over there talking with our NATO allies, since we're in the business of, since we're talking about Ukraine and
Did he
geopolitical
know he was talking
matters
to our
right now.
NATO allies?
Oh, how dare you? This is somebody who is at the top of his game
Oh,
to hear
that's right.
Morning Joe tell it.
Home, because this president is good at what he does, and these
I've always
events.
told people.
Mm-hmm.
No, I just always told people that the president's very sharp.
If you say something or write something, there have been times he's called and he's refuted it very sharply. I've talked to foreign leaders that have had conversations with him that said that he was on top of every issue, and to the degree that they were actually some NATO leaders have told me they were very surprised the contrast between the image in public and the Joe Biden behind closed doors, because he is so sharp and he's on top of everything.
I mean, that is some
deep
grade
BS.
A agitprop there from Morning Joe. But hey, Joe, can you name one or two of those leaders? Because we'd like to double check with them. Those foreign leaders you're talking to who are wowed by Joe Biden's wherewithal. Okay, sure. All right, just a little comic relief before we get back into it. So Pence on Ukraine, we're talking about. Take your calls on that. Let me fold in Pence on J6. Tucker pushed him on that issue. What happened on January 6th? How would you characterize it? Here's the answer.
All I know for sure, having lived through it at the Capitol, is that it was a tragic day. I've never used the word insurrection, Tucker, over the last 2 years, but it was a riot that took place at the Capitol that day. I saw firsthand where they'd evacuated us down to the loading dock below the Senate chamber, police officers that, as the day wore on, were streaming through 150 law enforcement officers that were assaulted. Obviously, the tragic loss of life ransacking the Capitol that occurred. But I really do believe that a day of tragedy became a triumph of freedom. And I'll always believe that by God's grace, I did my duty that day under the Constitution of the United States of America, and our institutions held.
When you say the tragic loss of life, who are you referring to?
Well, obviously, Ashley Babbitt would come to mind immediately.
What do you think of the fact that she was shot?
Well, I just think it was a tragic moment.
So here's the problem I have with the answer, and Tucker should have followed up on this point. Are institutions held? Well, that sounds like you're treating it like it was an insurrection. Are institutions held? Are institutions held against a riot, against a couple of hundred people maybe that broke the law and behaved badly and were ultimately quelled by law enforcement, taken into custody, prosecuted? What do you mean are institutions held? Did you think at any point they wouldn't hold against what you described as a riot? It's bizarre. So on the one hand, he wants to dismiss it and properly, not dismiss it, but properly characterize it as what it was, which is disorderly conduct, riotous behavior. On the other hand, he wants to appeal to, I did my job and abided the Constitution, and our institutions held, like he was the little Dutch boy. Come on. Which is it, Mike? I would like to see that follow-up.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line. You could also reach us all morning long on our fancy text line, 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
Cecil in Plainfield.
Yeah, Dan, Amy, I just, with the $150 billion to Iraq, to Ukraine.
Yeah.
I'm pulling a Joe there.
Yeah, you were. Good, nice Joe Biden impersonation.
But he's on top of it.
Yeah.
I think that if that went to mental health facilities and rehabilitation facilities, it'd be a good start in this country.
Okay. All right. Thanks for the call,
Thanks.
Cecil. David in Lansing.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Regarding Pence's comments, to say that Pence is supporting Ukraine at the expense of crumbling cities is approaching QAnon level, in my opinion. Now, I want to say that Pence is my third or fourth choice for president at this point, but I'm going to sort of defend him on this because he was a loyal VP to Trump for a long time, and he was in line with what Trump viewed. So him and Trump were together. So don't forget that, listeners. Do not forget that. And I'd like to also say, during your news, Why does Fox News say wildfires? They were set by hand. How is a fire set by hand a wildfire? Have a good morning, guys.
All right, thanks for the call, David. Yeah, arson that sparked wildfires, I guess. Yeah.
And then Trump and Pence fell out of love. Well, Trump fell out of love with Pence.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
let him, I just thought it was despicable how Trump treated him after all that Pence has done for him in the last 4 years.
Frank, Arlington Heights.
Good morning. Pence's answers on both these two issues should have been, number one, we have a two-tiered system of justice in regards to protests and in regards to January 6th. And on Ukraine, that, our foreign policy over the last 100 years has just been an abysmal failure for most of it. It really has. That's what his answer should have been. Instead, what do we get from him? We get, on January 6th, we get evasion. First thing he does is he doesn't answer the question. He goes, he wants to, praise all the people in the audience and the people who ran the thing. Obsequiousness, where I forget the gentleman's name who sponsored it, but he just starts talking about how great he is.
Vanderplaat. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Vanderplaat. And then just dishonesty about the institutions holding. The institutions failed. They did. The Supreme Court had a responsibility to look into some of these election issues. They just decided to fall back on standing. And then in terms of...
what's interesting on that, just before you make your final point, what's interesting on that is Tucker put that question to Nikki Haley. Do you think Biden really got 81 million votes, running no campaign, hiding in his basement, so on and so forth? 15 million more votes than Barack Obama just less than a decade later, and so forth. And, she was sort of evasive as well, talking generally about irregularities. And, there's got to be there's something in between, and I actually think DeSantis probably occupies the space between the Trump, constant stolen, and the way he approaches the issue, looking at it retrospectively rather than thinking about what the fix is prospectively, and these evasions you get from the other candidates who, don't want to say, oh, of course Joe Biden got 81 million votes. He didn't get 81 million votes. There were some irregularities, but I still think he won fair and square. They tried to sort of, skate by on the issue. And the issue is, prospectively, what are you going to do? And what have states done to make this different than it was in 2020 so that people have confidence and they're not demoralized into thinking there's no way we can win if there's not some federal action on the topic. Anyway, go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, well, our elections need to be cleaned up massively. And what some of these states have done since COVID are just atrocious.
Hold on. All right, Frank. Wait, what happened to Frank?
What happened to Frank? Justin, can you take?
Oh, Frank, are you back?
Oh, yes, I'm back.
Okay. Yeah, what happened? What happened to some of the states has been atrocious, but it's what's happened in some of the other states, like we were talking about Ohio with the Secretary of State LaRose last week, has been very good. So I'm just saying that there's some breadth on the topic, some depth of knowledge on the topic would also be helpful.
No doubt. I mean, you can't have it where a majority of the people, I think I've seen these polls where a majority of the people in the country don't think that, don't have faith in our government and our elections. So, on J6, what was I going to say about Mike Pence? I forget.
Oh, all right.
It was pathetic. It was. He's pathetic, and he should just end his campaign right now. Really. See you, Mike Pence.
Thanks for the call, Frank.
Got a text message. Pence was eager to mention that he'd been to Ukraine twice, but he really didn't have anything to say domestically, and he's going to lose a lot of voters that way. He was very underwhelming and very short of breath throughout the whole interview.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point.
Because he was like,
I was huffing and puffing a little bit.
None of those dramatics. Or if he was, ran a few laps before he got on stage, or who knows.
Again, I like Pence to some extent. Do I think that he should be the candidate? Of course not. But I never really expected Pence to get beyond Indiana, frankly. I mean, he's not presidential timber. And again, it's not because of his character or that he's not a smart guy. He's just not profound. It's just all standard issue sort of Beltway Republican rap, even though he's a conservative and he has a great conservative voting record in Congress. he's just a guy that didn't grow over his years in public office, in my view. Jim in LaGrange.
Hey, Dan and Amy, good morning. So this is why I think Trump has been so successful and will continue to be successful. It's because he speaks his mind. Whether you like it or not, he lays it out there. And everything that I'm hearing that you're playing with these other politicians and how they're speaking, they're skirting the issues slightly. They're trying to fit a narrative. They're trying to fit through a narrow pipe. And Trump just lets it go. And I think that candid nature that he has and what he says, whether you like it or not, is what's most important to a lot of people.
Thanks for the call, Jim. Appreciate it. Mac in Goodyear, Arizona.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. It's 3:52 out here, but anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Dan,
you're up early.
Early
Yes,
bird,
ma'am.
yeah.
Sadly, always. I'm calling, Dan. I'm sure you've covered it, and I'm not calling to fight against you, but I just, in 20 seconds, can you tell me why should we be supporting Ukraine in any manner with U.S. money, taxpayer money? And I'm sick of the excuse from people that want to support them that, well, if we don't stop Putin here, he's going to take over many more countries. And my debate with that is he can't even beat a fifth world military. So what makes anybody think that if he can't roll over Ukraine, which if he was really powerful, he should have done, what makes anybody think he's going to keep going?
Well,
I'm just curious of your opinion about it.
Yeah, those are fair questions. I mean, my support for Ukraine is not open-ended. So, for example, the call last week that 3,000 reservists should be ready to go, this sort of incrementally getting yourself into a situation where we're taking the lead, I'm completely opposed to, and I'm completely opposed to our soldiers on the ground there. But with respect to, generally speaking, the initial support for Ukraine, recognizing this is not democracy versus autocracy, it's kleptocracy versus autocracy, which is what Ukraine is. So I have no delusions about Zelensky or that country. But
Amen.
But I do believe that Putin is a revanchist. I do believe that he has, he's ex-KGB, and I do believe that he has a grand vision for returning Mother Russia to previous glory, and that means reconstituting as much of the Eastern Bloc as he can. And I do believe that he probably would have rolled over Ukraine already, and he may still, without support from the West. And if he does roll over Ukraine, then there's no reason to believe he wouldn't turn his sights to the Baltics or even Poland or Romania. And then that implicates our NATO commitments. And now you've got a greatly expanded theater. And to me, the potential for much more death and destruction and instability. And so I was supportive and am supportive initially of repelling the invasion by bringing force to bear that would make Putin, that would disincentivize Putin from what he's done. But, the problem, of course, is that he is willing to send hundreds of thousands of Russians to their death in order to pursue this revanchist vision he has. And that alone confirms, in my mind, that is indeed his vision, and he will pursue that to his dying day, whether that comes from inside or from above. So that's my sort of shorthand thinking on the topic.
I appreciate it all, and I agree with 99% of what you said, but the bottom line is we have been slow walking, getting equipment, getting ammunition, getting tanks, the fighter jets, on and on and on. We've slow walked it for now, a year and a half, and he still couldn't overrun the country because he is also a third world, like you said. He's a wannabe. He wants to be what it used to be. He doesn't have the capability, and they've proven that because they haven't just steamrolled the country, even though we have not, from the beginning, given them what they needed. So those are just my thoughts, and I appreciate your...
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, Mac. Thanks for the call. Yeah, the only thing I'd say is, right, so it's sending support there for the Ukrainians to fight the battle and make Kyiv Putin's Waterloo, I think is a worthwhile investment. Getting beyond that, that's a whole different kettle of fish. And no way, soldiers, no way.
No,
I would not be supportive of sending our men and women into that theater.
But I wish the Biden administration would focus on our own border here.
Well,
and
for
delegate
sure.
is enough resources necessary to stop people from coming over here.
But again,
as they care about Ukraine.
Well, I agree, but it's not a resource issue. It's a political will issue. We talk
Oh,
about this in Illinois all the time. It's not a resource issue. So the $150 billion to Ukraine, I mean, come on. This is a $4.5 trillion budget annually. I mean, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money that could be put to much better uses, of course. Border security, mental health, the caller mentioned. Of course it could, but there's no political will to do that. So what are we really talking about? And if you wanted to do those other things, border security, more funding at the federal level for mental health services, all sorts of other things you could think of, well, you have the money to do that. I mean, you really do. You just have to prioritize. Cornell and Villa Park.
Yes, good morning, Dan and Amy. First of all, let me start off by saying that Pence looked really, really bad during that last night or whatever over the weekend. First of all, he spent too much time trying to sell the Ukrainian war to a large voter audience, C-SPAN and Tucker Carlson. If you notice, there were way too less specifics about what he would do as a candidate, as a president for the United States. And your first job is to sell what you would do to the audience. The other thing is you never, ever tell a group of people that what's happening in their American cities are not your concern. That's a bad sell.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I agree.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the Cornell. No, I mean, I agree. It was a bad turn of a phrase, to be sure, but
And he repeated it twice.
But then he said, bring law and order to the big cities. It didn't come off well. I agree. Pence didn't come off well. But Pence doesn't do, he's not a good counterpuncher. He doesn't do well in those environments, those one-on-ones, which is why.
He looked annoyed, too.
Yeah, and I
like a bad relationship between those two or something.
Well, they they fundamentally disagree, and they both know that. But he's just Pence will not perform well in the debates either. I mean, it's not so much about Pence because I don't think he's presents much of a threat to be the nominee. It's more about the discussion on Ukraine and going in both directions, the substance of what each of them had to say as we have this conversation, and we will continue to.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 6:06, we'll return to the home front. The Safety Act. We're going to get an opinion from the Illinois Supreme Court on its constitutionality tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit about that against the backdrop of the lawlessness in Chicago at 6:06.
Today, hazy sunshine, a high of 80 degrees at 6 a.m. WIND Chicago.
Two little kids still missing in Pennsylvania. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. After they got swept away in flooding Saturday that left 5 people dead in Bucks County, including the mother of those children.
The family was visiting here in Bucks County. In South Carolina, they were on their way to a barbecue to meet family and friends when the storms moved in and the road got submerged in water from a nearby creek. The dad went to grab his 4-year-old son and miraculously they escaped the floodwaters. The mom and grandma went to get the 9-month-old baby and his 2-year-old big sister, but they were all swept away. Yesterday, search crews found the mom's body. The grandmother also found and survived, but those 2 kids are still missing, and a search crew of nearly 100 is still looking for them today.
Fox Weather's Katie Byrne in Upper Makefield, Pennsylvania, which got 7 inches of rain in 45 minutes. There was also flooding not far across the state line in New Jersey, prompting the governor to declare a state of emergency as parts of the South swelter.
The heat breaking records across the Southwest, so dangerous again for these areas of Phoenix, Las Vegas, in towards Texas for another week.
That's Fox meteorologist Janice Dean. At least 2 people are dead after explosions were reported on a bridge in Crimea, the area Russia illegally annexed. It's a key supply line for its war in Ukraine. Now, this as Russia pulls out of a deal allowing Ukraine to export grain through the Black Sea.
Ukraine is one of the world's largest grain producers, so this deal has been important for 2 reasons. Firstly, a lifeline for Ukraine's war-ravaged economy, and secondly, to alleviate a global food crisis.
Fox's Jonathan Savage, a celebrity on trial in London, got some help today from an even bigger celebrity there, Elton John. The singer testified for Kevin Spacey's defense remotely via video from Monaco in the actor's sexual assault trial. Spacey denies assaulting four men, claiming the encounters with them were consensual. America's listening to Fox News.
69 degrees. 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Air quality alerts are up for the Chicago area today as the Illinois Department of Labor investigates after a child was thrown from a carnival ride over the weekend in Antioch. The incident happened yesterday at the Taste of Antioch Carnival.
I have two young daughters myself, and we're at these rides yesterday, so it hits close to home, and you never think something like this will happen, but we have to make sure that something like this never happens again.
Mayor Scott Gardner says rides were shut down at the Taste of Antioch following the incident. The Illinois Supreme Court will rule this week on whether to eliminate cash bail in the state. Kankakee County State's Attorney Jim Rowe led the challenge when the case was heard in March.
And for the sheriff has to ensure effectively the safety of every law enforcement officer under his charge. This act requires them to serve, for instance, notice to appear and then a warrant on 2 occasions. We've now doubled the number of instances where law enforcement is going to come into contact with perhaps a fugitive or a very dangerous individual.
A Kankakee County judge ruling in December that removing cash bail is unconstitutional, and Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul was then forced to appeal to the state's high court. A woman killed in a drive-by shooting on Chicago's West Side is being identified as the mother of an Ohio State University football player. Ashley Griggs was one of 5 shot early yesterday. She died. 4 other victims remain hospitalized. Griggs is the mother of Ohio State freshman wideout Carnell Tate. A new report shows Illinois is ranked 5th in the country for the most personal injury cases per capita. The report, compiled by a Florida law firm, shows that personal injury cases occurred in Illinois at a rate 140% over the national average. State Representative Dan Ugaste says it's a red flag for businesses in this state.
It tells business that they probably don't want to locate here because if they go to another state, it won't be as burdensome, won't be as costly.
Florida had the most personal injury cases by a wide margin, accounting for over 60% of the state's entire civil caseload. The judge who oversaw the corruption trial of former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich and the landmark Family Secrets mob trial is dead at the age of 82. U.S. District Judge James Zagel died Saturday after a long illness. White Sox topped the Braves 8-1. Cubs lost to Boston 11-5. The news a service of Protect and Grow with Tim Stearns. Tune in Saturdays at noon. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The Dennis Prager Show.
You be proud of this country because there's no place that has ever reached the freedom and opportunities for people that America has. And that was true until the left, composed of the bored, the empty, the angry, the spoiled, decided to tear it down. And they're doing that.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Charlie Kirk at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
I've told you about my lower back pain and how kneeling in church on Sunday was becoming nearly unbearable. Sebastian Gorka here. I've also told you about how Relief Factor has helped almost eliminate my pain. Now, let me tell you what Robert in California says about his experience with Relief Factor. Robert writes, I didn't think Relief Factor was working until I ran out mid-month. After about 3 days, the pain was back to where it started. It was a great test for me to see how much Relief Factor really works. 3 weeks from now, you could be doing the things you enjoy doing and living the life you love. Your first step to becoming pain-free from aches and pains from daily living could be just to order the 3-week quick start for only $19.95. After trying Relief Factor, over 500,000 people have gone on to order more. Go to relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF to find out about this offer. That's relieffactor.com. or call 800-4RELIEF. Feel the difference with Relief Factor.
Okay,
I have a question. Do you want to eat more fruits and vegetables, but it's just too hard? Let me tell you about Balance of Nature. We all know that our bodies need a wide variety of fruits and vegetables to get the proper amount of nutrition. Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies provides a colorful variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables. Your body will get thousands of phytonutrients from every capsule. Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com. For a limited time this summer, get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
6:07, let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And on the inbound Kennedy, it's a full half hour, O'Hare into the Circle Interchange. Ike in 33 from 390 into the old post office. Stevenson 34 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. I-57 stop-and-go traffic between 119th and 103rd due to an accident blocking a left-hand lane. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with our AccuWeather meteorologist Steve Williams.
Less humid, some hazy sun today. That means smoke from Canadian wildfires creating some reduced air quality. High today near 80. Clear tonight, low 62, and then partly sunny tomorrow, the high 80. Thunderstorm on Wednesday, the high near 84. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Worried about basement flooding? Time to call Permaseal, 800-421-SEAL. 68 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Meet number 14. This the continuing series over at CWB Chicago. Number 14. Cook County prosecutor found herself on the wrong side of Chicago street violence last week as she drove home from the criminal courthouse at 26th and Cal. The driver in front of her shooting in her direction. Intending to hit a group of people passing by. The individual has been arrested. He's a 25-year-old who stands accused of being the gunman. He was on bail for a pending charge of unlawful possession of a machine gun.
Oh, of course.
He is the 14th person accused of shooting, killing, or trying to shoot or kill someone in Chicago just this year while awaiting trial for a felony. Those cases involve at least 20 victims, 7 of whom dead. This prosecutor, heading home at 6 o'clock on Thursday, when she rolled up behind a Ford Escape at the light at 600 block of South California, group of 6 or 8 people exited a nearby alley, passed between the Ford and the prosecutor's car, and then the guy opened his door, leaned out, and began firing a rifle towards this group of 6 or 8 people, striking a 16-year-old boy, who thankfully just had a gunshot wound to his left arm and will survive. Also, her car was struck on the back end, but the prosecutor escaped any injury.
Well, I'm glad the prosecutor's okay, but that is a result of her office's actions, why that was allowed to happen. So maybe this will wake people up. Maybe she's besties with Kim Fox or somebody that they might go like, you know what, now even our prosecutors could get shot.
Well, tomorrow's a big day on this topic because the Illinois Supreme Court is going to weigh in on the constitutionality of the Safety Act 2.0.
I'm so nervous.
And let's remind ourselves what that includes, both what the original was and what the amendments were after last November's election. Because it's important to know what the original was, because it gives you great insight into the collective wisdom emanating from Springfield, from the General Assembly, as well as Jelly Belly. And Kwame Raoul and Ali G and the entire
all of them
Dem power structure in this city and state. In the original, the Safety Act would end cash bail as of January 1, the original. The amendment passed last fall clarifies that cash bail abolition won't be automatically retroactive. The amendments include a framework for hearings so defendants who were detained on cash bail before January 1 can petition for pretrial release after that date, but there will be no opening of the county jail doors en masse. Well, a modest improvement. But yeah, there are some modest improvements in this compared to 1.0. But just keep in mind 1.0, because that's what they really wanted. And it was only because of the campaign that was run and the attention that shows and people like the Morning Answer and our team here, the attention they put on it that made people understand the implications. And of course, obviously, prosecutors like Jim Glasgow and Jim Rowe, who organized state's attorneys around Illinois and brought this case to a Kankakee courthouse and ultimately to the Supreme Court.
And it became part of the gubernatorial race, too.
Huge part.
A huge part. And that's why people were paying attention.
And
I think.
No question. And remember the initial response when we said what this legislation would do, when we were describing, no way.
I know. I thought it was
people were incredulous. No way. There's no way they're going to do that.
People thought they were reading an article from The Onion. Like, no, this is it.
We argued for months, and I spent millions of dollars of other people's money telling you.
Damn right, sister.
Telling you that there were non-detainable offenses in the Safety Act, and Jelly Belly lied about it, and all these socialists lied about it, and then they amended it. There were, we're talking about serious, violent crimes that were characterized as non-detainable offenses. Aggravated batteries, burglaries, robberies, arson, aggravated discharge of a firearm, armed habitual criminal, gun running, firearms trafficking, non-detainable offenses under 1.0. You know how this is confirmed? If you still don't want to believe me, they amended it. A long list of felony weapons charges can now be grounds for pretrial detention based on proving the defendant poses a threat to the community at large, rather than the previous standard, which is the defendant has to pose a threat to someone specifically. If you can't identify an actual person by name, then that defendant was going to walk under the previous version of the Safety Act. This is how they are, and this is why you have number 14, stories like number 14. And this is why over the last several years under Kim Foxx, it's been dozens and dozens of people that should have been detained awaiting trial because they're accused of a felony, and in most cases, not their first rodeo of being accused of a felony, and yet they're released and they go out and they injure or kill other people. Easily preventable. But the Safety Act 1.0 is essentially de facto the approach of the Cook County State's Attorney's Office.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. Answer line 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment. Did they amend the trespassing violations where if somebody decided to set up a tent in your backyard, remember you couldn't call police and have them come and remove them?
They did. I mean, it's incredible. Or a restaurant.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, private property.
Yeah.
So the amendment on that, officers now have more discretion to arrest for trespassing. Gives police the power to arrest trespassers if they reasonably believe the offender poses a threat or will persist in trespassing after the mere issuance of a ticket. But here again, what's the culture in Chicago? You know, my reasonable belief as a cop on the street, well, how is that going to be processed by Kim Foxx's office and her unreasonable beliefs about everything? I mean, this is how you have a city where the peacekeepers get shot, and the peacekeepers are on electronic monitoring. Mm-hmm. 2 men shot while working as peacekeepers in Little Village over the weekend, including one who was shot in the leg right next to the electronic monitoring bracelet he was wearing for a pending felony gun case. I mean, it's just cartoonish if it wasn't so serious, if there weren't lives on the line. Peacekeepers getting shot, one electronic monitoring for a felony gun charge, on a felony gun charge. Hey, tomorrow's a big day.
Yep, and even police reforms. You know, limit the use of force, including bans on chokeholds. You've got expanded misconduct database. You can just call a number and allege anything you want. Body cameras by 2025. I'm fine with that, whatever. But
here's what happens. Here's what happens if the Safety Act is not overturned. It comes to a community near you. Heads up in the suburbs. Prosecutors yesterday charged a 20-year-old with carjacking a woman at gunpoint in Little Village on Tuesday. He was on bail for another armed carjacking and on probation for a felony gun case. He's got probation on one felony. He's got bail on another. The difference in the Safety Act is he wouldn't have bail. He wouldn't have to bother with that process. But even with the existence of bail, this is the attitude of the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. And also the attitude, by the way, of El Gainat in Lake County, who joined with Kim Foxx, the only two, I can't say this enough, the only two county state's attorneys in the of Illinois' 102 county state's attorneys, Reinhardt in Lake County and Kim Foxx in Cook County, of course, who supported Safety Act 1.0. If that doesn't resonate, then nothing will. I mean, nothing will.
And Illinois will be the only state with no cash bail in any circumstances.
And by the way, it's not just, as we say on the show all the time, it is not just murders and shootings.
No, it's rapists and...
It's carjackings. Carjacking reports this year citywide are down 25% year over year, but they're still 3 times what they were pre-COVID. 628 cases of carjacking reported as of July 9 compared to 262. And in some areas, they are actually up this year, like Andersonville and Uptown. Robberies in Wicker Park, Bucktown, River North, wave of robberies. Cops try to contain surging crime wave. Did you see this, too? I mean, I used to go to this joint, semi-regularly. Guy killed right outside the California Clipper in Humboldt Park. See, this is the thing. We talk about all these great neighborhoods in the city, and there are, these like great restaurants and bars and entertainment venues. Yeah, there are. But am I going to go to it? Am I going to go to dinner at Rootstock and then go over for a libation after dinner at the California Clipper? Why would I do that?
You put your life on the line. It's not worth it.
It's just, why would you put yourself in a situation, however remote, there's still the possibility that something like this could happen. So this is what I'm saying. Quality of life. It's not just literally life and death. It's also quality of life. So I have to take evasive action to not go into neighborhoods I used to go into, to not go to places I used to go to, and I'm just using me as an example, because we have people like BLM Brandon and Kim Foxx in office. Tony and Roselle, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. Thanks for taking my call. That peacekeeper that was shot in the leg with the ankle monitor, according to the article I read, he was arrested in January in Little Village for illegal possession of a firearm. While on bail, he was arrested and charged again with a felony gun possession in May. So it's not just one gun possession this year that this peacekeeper had against him. It's 2.
Yeah. Right. So what's the vetting process to be a peacekeeper, one wonders? Thanks, Tony.
I don't know. I mean, I saw some of them in Jefferson Park, and they looked homeless. Not that there's anything wrong with looking homeless, because sometimes I've been accused of looking homeless. But I'm just saying, I don't know what the vetting process is. I don't know what the training is, because they won't even tell us.
Please.
There's no training. Here, put on a vest.
We need violence interrupters for the violence interrupters.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
When this is the sound of a crackling campfire on a cool evening, you can sit back and relax. But when it's the sound of your counters and cabinets smoking and smoldering following a house fire that's affected your entire kitchen, you need to pick up the phone and call 1-800-SERVPRO. Only the cleanup and restoration specialists at Servpro can help make fire and water damage like it never even happened. So make the call to 1-800-SERVPRO when fire damage strikes. Franchises are independently owned and operated.
Hi, I'm Test Director Rick from Servpro, the leader in cleaning, restoration, and construction. It's my job to make sure our pros are prepared for anything. Storm damage? Fixed. Flood damage? We're on it. Fire damage? Not anymore. Aliens? What aliens? We cleaned those sites a while ago. No matter the disaster, our pros will make it like it never even happened. Find out why Servpro is the #1 choice for residential and commercial restoration projects large and small. Visit servpro.com today.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Mick McDonald, co-founder of Configure One, the global leader in configure, price, and quote software for manufacturers, and a new customer of Signature Bank. Configure One recently came to Signature Bank for a loan under the Paycheck Protection Program after our previous business bank of 20 years left us out in the cold. When I called Signature, I worked directly with one of the founders of the bank, who assured me that my application would be submitted immediately. 1 week later, my loan was approved and funded, and I moved my entire banking relationship to Signature. Signature Bank is incredibly responsive, fully transparent, and a great partner for my business.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Gavalis, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidisciplined practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology, such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930. That's 630-830-4930. Or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
When you're serious about your concealed carry training and education and are ready to learn from an active police officer with a teaching degree, check out Illinois Concealed Carry Training in Midlothian. You'll learn safe, responsible firearm use, home defense planning, conflict avoidance, situational awareness, and how to remain physically, morally, and financially safe in the event you must use your firearm in self-defense or the defense of another. Weekday and weekend classes available.
I'm Sergeant Gary Carr, police firearms trainer and the owner of Illinois Concealed Carry Training. We'll arm you with what really counts, knowledge and training. All concealed carry curriculums are not created equal. This may be the single most important decision you'll ever make for yourself and your loved ones. Choose between 3 and 16-hour classes that are available both weekdays and weekends. We are your one-stop for concealed carry classes, fingerprints, and legal defense plans.
Register for a class today and get 10% off class fees with promo code AM560. Visit IllinoisConcealedCarry.com. That's IllinoisConcealedCarry.com.
Hey everybody, Charlie Kirk here. Freedom Square is an unbelievable service designed to unite freedom-loving Americans. I know these guys. They love their country and they're doing an amazing job. You can log on now to create your free personalized dashboard. All of your favorite news sites, podcasters, all on one site, all at your fingertips. Sign up your business right now at freedomsquare.com and start connecting with freedom-loving Americans. Look, people want businesses they can support. You want to know the good guys from the bad guys. That's freedomsquare.com. Log on right now and create your personalized dashboard. Join us in the fight, so check it out. freedomsquare.com. Freedom lives here.
Let's welcome our new Freedom Square Business Network members. Lore TV, DS Arms Lake Barrington, Villa Park Office Equipment, and Every Black Life Matters. It's time to unite and vote with your dollars. Download the Freedom Square app and register your business right now at freedomsquare.com and start connecting with patriots. Freedom Square. Freedom lives here.
Hi, this is Steve. I'm in Italy, away from my business. But I'm not worried about the office or my absence from it. I'm confident because I've got TurnKey on my side. They've helped me solve several problems for my business, so I can finally relax for a bit while I let the business work. Not only did TurnKey help with my IT problems, their expert team gave me a custom consultation that found additional profit centers in my company. They've helped me focus on a new direction for my business. It's not easy to relax when you own a business, but with our partnership with TurnKey, I feel confident, resolved, and ready to deliver. Now, I'm going to relax, have a Peroni, and depend on the direction TurnKey has helped me embrace. They can help your business too. Visit turnkey.pro to start a conversation today. That's turnkey.pro.
The pros at TurnKey share your values. They know IT and they know small business. They're Chicagoland's small business champions. Visit turnkey.pro to book your appointment today. That's turnkey.pro.
Are you considering a unique way to enhance your investment knowledge this year? Then sign up today for the all-inclusive Eagle Financial Publications Cruise. Along with our trusted partner, The Money Show, we're setting sail this December to explore some of the most beautiful and unspoiled destinations in the Caribbean. But this is no ordinary vacation. It's a chance to learn from top Eagle financial experts like best-selling authors George Gilder, Mark Skousen, and others who will be hosting a series of workshops and seminars throughout the trip. Imagine lounging on the sun deck while discussing investment strategies with like-minded individuals, or enjoying a gourmet dinner at the same table with one of our leading financial authorities. This once-in-a-lifetime cruise is a perfect way to combine education and relaxation to achieve your investment goals. This cruise will sell out quickly, so visit EagleFinancialCruise.com today to learn more and to secure your cabin. That's EagleFinancialCruise.com. Eagle Financial is a division of Salem Media Group. AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, on the crime beat, New York City pales in comparison to the amount of violent crime that Chicago has, even though it's got 4 times the population. But it's still a big problem. And what Hochul and Eric Adams are trying to do is suggest, this is all just media hype. Yeah, we have some issues, like random stabbings on the subway.
But then they say, every big city has issues.
Just big city living. We hear that here. Just big city living. But Eric Adams,
what's he doing?
This guy, for those maybe still clinging to the hope that as a former police officer, maybe Eric Adams will bring some sanity, some law and order, some Giuliani-esque policies to New York City. Listen to what he said at a church in Brooklyn last week.
I am the symbol of black manhood in this city, in this country, and what it represents. I'm the mayor of the most powerful city on the globe, and people need to recognize that.
I'm the symbol of black manhood in this country. What? Who talks about themselves like that other than Karine Jean-Pierre? Yeah.
Remember, what did she say again?
I'm a historic
person.
Yeah, I walk in history every day. I'm a historic person. Eric Adams, you're a historic person too. Everybody's a historic person. Okay, can you get over yourselves now and do something relevant to the lives of your constituents? I am the symbol of black manhood in this country. Who talks like that other than a megalomaniac?
Yeah, do you think they put God first? I'm going to say no.
Oh my, it's remarkable. These are the people. Yeah. And what does it say about the populations of these big cities who elevate the Eric Adamses and the Triple Threats and the BLM Brandons and the Karen Basses to positions to be the symbol of black manhood in this country? And I was talking about Lightfoot as well.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Kevin Brock, former assistant director of Intel for the FBI, joins us to go over Christopher Wray's testimony before Congress last week. Also, Trump saying, nominating Christopher Wray to be FBI director, probably a mistake. 6:36.
But now let's head straight into that newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
6:31 and 68 degrees. Russia is halting a breakthrough wartime deal, allowing grain to flow from Ukraine to countries in Africa, Middle East, and Asia, where hunger is a growing threat of seeing high food prices impacting local markets. Heavy rains are pounding an already saturated Northeast for the second time in a week, spurring another round of flash flooding, this time in Pennsylvania.
So far, we've had 7 missing people, 5 have been recovered. With the 5 deaths due to the floodwaters, mass casualty incident like these, which we have never seen before, unbelievable and devastating to all the families involved. We are all grieving.
A sudden flash flood swamped a southeast Pennsylvania road late Saturday afternoon, sweeping away several cars, claiming at least 5 lives. 2 young children are missing. A male suspect accused of fatally shooting 4 in Georgia has been killed following a manhunt. Law enforcement tracked down the man to a location about 30 miles south of Atlanta, exchanged gunfire twice before neutralizing the suspect. Air quality alert issued for several Midwest cities, including Chicago, Indianapolis, and Des Moines. The Illinois Department of Labor is investigating after a child was thrown from a carnival ride in Antioch. Rides at Taste of Antioch were shut down. Park Forest police say a grandmother and grandfather have both been charged with first-degree murder after their 5-year-old granddaughter was found unresponsive and later died at Comer Children's Hospital. An NBA legend is now part of the Chicago Sky ownership group. Dwayne Wade announced over the weekend he's investing in the team. White Sox beat the Braves 8-1 and take 2 of 3 from the best team in baseball. Cubs were knocked around by Boston 11-5. Tennessee Titans have won the DeAndre Hopkins sweepstakes, 2 years, $15 million in that contract. By the way, the Bears start NFL training camp on July 26th. The news is a service of MyPillow. Big news. MyPillow employees want to thank you by giving you the lowest price in history on their MyPillows. Queen-size MyPillows, regular price $69.98, now only $19.98 with promo code LIBERTY. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher sees people freaking out.
The Supreme Court is falling off the pedestal it once built for itself, down into the muck of normal politics. They're squealing like stuck pigs because, lo and behold, the Supreme Court struck down affirmative action. Come on, you got to hire people based on the color of their skin, right?
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
This is Jerry Boyer for townhall.com. BlackRock is a Wall Street behemoth managing more of your pension dollars than any other company in the world. It led the way in pulling corporate America left by pushing ESG, environmental, social, and governance investing. This approach takes the focus off of the fiduciary responsibility to put the financial performance of your retirement funds above all else and shifts it towards various social goals. The backlash has been severe. Recently, the CEO of the firm, Larry Fink, distanced himself from the investment trend he himself fostered. He announced a rebranding away from ESG, saying that he was embarrassed to have been involved in this political debate and said that ESG had been weaponized by the far left and the far right. Well, the left used it as a weapon. The right is just defending us against that. But, Mr. Fink, is the solution not obvious? Stay out of political debates and you won't find yourself ashamed of the political debates that you're in.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, straight lines seem wavy, like when looking at a door frame. For others, blurry or missing spots can make it hard to read or see loved ones' faces. Many have trouble seeing in low light, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you've been diagnosed with AMD and notice vision changes, don't wait. Talk to your eye doctor about GA today. Learn more at gawon'twait.com. That's gawon'twait.com.
6:37. Let's get an update on the roads. We do that, of course, in our Team Hochberg Traffic Center, and it is a service of Blindster.com. If you have a tape measure and a screwdriver, you can install their blinds and save big. Plus, they guarantee they'll fit. Blindster.com. Inbound Edens at 27 Lake Cook Road into the junction, the Kennedy 47, O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange, Stevenson 39 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. An earlier accident still gumming up the works inbound on I-57 between 127th and 103rd. Toll roads look to be off on time. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Less humid today. Hazy sunshine, high near 80. Clear and 62 overnight. Partly sunny and 80 tomorrow. 67 degrees at O'Hare. Your next news update is at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. President Trump, former President Trump, not in Des Moines for the Family Leadership Summit, but he did sit down with Maria Bartiromo for her show on Fox Business. And against the backdrop of his testimony before the House last week, Christopher Wray, Bartiromo asked Trump about that decision, the decision to replace Comey with Wray.
Sadly, it probably was. He was recommended very strongly by Chris Christie, who's, a sad case. I mean, I watch him. He's a sad case.
Well, he's in this race, he said, just to take you down.
Well, I know. And you know how he's doing? He's at 1%, and he probably won't even make the debate stage.
I mean, not to tell Maria Bartiromo how to do her job. I'm loath to do that, of course. However, was it a mistake to appoint or to nominate Christopher Wray? Yeah, it was probably a mistake, but Chris Christie recommended it. And then you let him go off and you start talking about Chris Christie too. Wait a second. So you're about to tell me Chris Christie is this buffoon, which he is. Why'd you take advice from him? Why are you taking Chris Christie's advice then? It's your decision. Yeah, it was a mistake, but there's no but. It was your decision. And now we have Christopher Wray mocking the justice system, as, in my opinion, he did last week before Congress. Mocking the Constitution, as he did, in my opinion, last week before Congress. That was your decision. And you can't tell me that you drained the swamp, which he also said to Bartiromo. Oh, she said, you didn't drain the swamp. Yeah, I did drain the swamp. I fired Comey early on. No, you didn't. It should have been day one.
Right.
You should have known better. Number two, to the extent, who are you taking advice and counsel from? You're taking advice and counsel from people that then a little bit later on, you're calling buffoons. Well, what does that say about your judgment, Mr. Former President? I'm a little tired of him not getting pinned down. I wish these people, including, programs I like Bartiromo, would do a little better job of pinning him down, and politicians in general. Could you actually listen to what they say rather than just like being prepared to ask your next question or go with whatever flow they provide? So annoying. It'd be so much more valuable. Get any of these guys on our show, other than Vivek Ramaswamy. All right. So last week, since I was off, I did get my bite at the apple, as it were, with Christopher Wray, and I know the exchange with Gates is the one that a lot of people were talking about, but this statement that he made, softballed to a softball question from a fungible Democrat about any insinuation that there's bias in the FBI or bias emanating from its director is borderline insane. That was the most offensive to me. Take a listen.
Are you or your staff or auxiliaries weaponizing the FBI against the American people?
Absolutely not. The idea that I'm biased against conservatives seems somewhat insane to me.
A ballroom, a bathroom.
Yeah, okay.
A bedroom.
So that seems somewhat insane to you. Really? I don't care what your political affiliation is or what you say it is. Director Wray, we've never seen somebody who's voted Republican then go to D.C. and become a Potomac Party reptile. We've never seen that. Because you're a Republican, we're supposed to believe that you would never allow this agency to get away from you. You would never just be a company man for the institutional powers inside the Beltway, because we've never seen that before. You know what? Spare me your pathetic paeans to affiliation, and why don't you give me some specific answers to specific questions, some pertinent details, some specific examples of reforms and impact, some acknowledgement, not just of, improprieties and there's an investigation like with the Richmond memo on Catholics. No, I mean, what are you really doing? How about some mea culpas? Arguing about how many instances of abusing FISA. I dispute it was 204,000. Well, how many was it? I don't know. How many? It's 2.5 years after January 6th. How many federal agents were on the grounds that day? I don't know. Was it more than one? I don't know. Couldn't tell you. I'll check on that and get back to you. Check on it and get back to you. You got hundreds of people that have been indicted and convicted and hundreds more pending, and you're oblivious to what happened on January 6th in terms of the FBI's role in all that? I don't know if there were assets there. Okay. Well, were there or weren't there? And if there weren't, how many actual agents were there? I don't know. The Catholic memo. I'm appalled, and we did this and we did that. That ran through layers and layers of the agency. That memo targeting Catholics who attend Latin Mass as somehow threats to our democracy. And there's an investigation going on, so I can't tell you the names. I can't tell you who's responsible. Could you at some point give us? We'll have to wait to see how the investigation turns out, and then I can maybe give you some names. You're going to give me the names now. What are you talking about? I mean, who the hell do you think you are? You're the director of the FBI, and the discussion, and this is Bartiromo is infuriating again. The discussion is about whether the FBI's new headquarters should be in Alabama or D.C. How about no FBI headquarters? How about you don't need one if you shut down the agency? How does that grab you, Christopher Wray, you smug prick? Honestly, I don't know how people sat through that, and this should be that should not disappear after the weekend. That was a offensive performance from Wray, both in terms of what he said and what he didn't say. And I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of it with this agency and these smarmy Elliot Ness wannabes like Comey and Wray. Pound sand, you Earl Scheib doofus. You big corporate lawyer. Comey. You guys are a joke. And now we're to the point where I can't tell you because there's an ongoing investigation. Now I can't tell you if there's an ongoing investigation. There should be uproar over this, much more than there is, and including from the Republican presidential candidates. I mean, these guys, honestly. For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by Kevin Brock, former Assistant Director of Intel for the FBI and former Principal Deputy Director for the National Counterterrorism Center as well. Kevin, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning, Amy, Dan. How are you doing? It's always fun to be your guest when you're ready to take a bite out of the apple.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I got all the poison out, so now I'm calm again. But I mean, honestly, from FISA abuses to the Catholic targeting of Catholics to the falling in line with Merrick Garland on targeting parents who show up to school board meetings, from all of the other instances of mendacity and even illegality. And he comes there and says, how dare you question me? I mean, he should be genuflecting and providing PowerPoints of what he's going to do. And let me give you an example of what we did when there was this bad action taken by these bad actors, because I want to inspire confidence among the American people in the FBI. I have zero confidence after Wray's testimony.
Well, I'll tell you, your opening monologue there was one of the best reactions I've heard to that whole performance by the director, and frankly, the members of the committee. I thought there was shortcomings on both sides, and I watched the whole thing live, and I was, literally yelling at my screen, ask this question or answer it this way.
Right.
I was greatly frustrated by the disservice to the American people that the whole hearing was. There was great opportunity on both sides to clarify positions and answer things, and answers just weren't forthcoming. I've maintained this in articles and other places. The number one job of the FBI director is to protect the trust of the American people in the FBI, because the FBI is that vital to our democracy, and that's not being done. It was destroyed by Comey. Wray hasn't stepped up in an adequate way to give that reassurance. How nice it would have been to hear at some point during all of this questioning, yes, we made mistakes when we included Americans' tweets for consideration of censorship at Twitter. We made mistakes when we sent a tactical team to arrest a pro-life father at his house after he had offered to turn himself in. We made mistakes on any number of high-profile things that has shaken the confidence in the American people that the FBI is unbiased. And I can reassure you that it won't happen again. We never heard that. And that's disturbing. He had a great opportunity to clarify on any number of things. And there was ample opportunity to provide perspectives. There's certain things that the FBI does. Yeah, everybody can get behind and say, yes, we want you to do that. But those things that look suspiciously like they're politically driven, you have to provide answers, and you cannot hide behind the tired, well, it's an ongoing investigation, we really can't comment on that. No, there's a lot of things you can still say.
That's what he did the whole time
without blowing up a case.
Yeah, I mean, especially the bank information from the January 6th rioters.
Right.
An overreach of government yet again. But he just sat there and he was so smug the entire time. I couldn't take it anymore.
Well, that's right, and Dan, you pointed out one thing that really struck me, and I blew up his credibility right in the middle of the testimony, was when he was asked, I forget the congressman that asked the question about the number of undercover FBI agents that may have been in the crowd on January 6th, and he said, I don't know. There's no way. I can tell you, I was on the 7th floor of the FBI as a leader there, and I can tell you that is not believable, that the director of the FBI wouldn't be informed as to the number of undercover agents that might have been there that day, because it's that sensitive of a technique. And it shows that if he didn't know, he lacked basic understanding and curiosity about something that basic. Or number two, he was disserved by his staff by not informing him of that. Or number three, he just decided not to tell.
Right, you're either lying or you're incompetent. Which is it, Director? And I would just stop the hearing there. Republicans should just stop the hearing there and zero in on it. It is not believable. It is not believable. So give us an actual answer, and we'll just continue to ask this question and probe on this question for the next 3 hours, and then we'll have you back and we'll continue on that too. I mean, all this stuff, and his whole attitude, which is the sort of imperious attitude you get inside that from the inside the Beltway creatures like him. This when he had the exchange with Gates, and his response at the end was, I'll have you know that the number of applicants to the FBI from your home state of Florida has doubled in the last year, whatever he says. Who the hell cares? Gates was not quick enough on his feet. Oh, we're very proud of them. They deserve better than you. No, the answer is, yeah, well, why? Why? Because they want to be Democrat operatives too? Is that why? So, yeah, give me the political profile of those people applying to the FBI. Because they want to grow up to be like you and Comey and run roughshod over people's rights? Tell me why they're applying. Don't tell me who's applying. This guy, they should be calling for his head on a spike, figuratively, of course.
Yeah, he doesn't come across well. He comes across as a bit pedantic in explaining basic things. Like, instead of answering a question, he'll say, well, that information is classified, and as you know, we can't divulge classified information. Well, we know that. Thank you for telling us that. You got to go deeper. You got to be more reassuring. And he kind of fell back on just classic ways to obfuscate and not answer questions, and that doesn't inspire anybody's confidence. And that's going to hurt the FBI. And then you've got a Republican Party in Congress that's now talking about, ironically, defunding the FBI after they vociferously opposed defunding police. Now they're talking about defunding the FBI because they don't like what they're seeing. That's a little bit of cutting off your nose to spite your face. And Christopher Wray didn't do much to mollify that type of sentiment. I do agree with you. The whole conversation around FBI headquarters is absurd. I have maintained that FBI headquarters is grossly overinflated. It has way too much of the percentage of the FBI's employee population is centered at headquarters. I think it's over a third now. It's ridiculous. The business of the FBI is out in the field offices solving crimes and investigating crimes, not sitting in a large building someplace running programs. He kept deferring. Any questions about Biden? There's an investigation ongoing into this. Well, does it include the big guy? I can't. You'll have to talk to the Delaware U.S. attorney. Yeah, okay, whatever. Explain how the FBI interacts with like the IRS, as these whistleblowers have come forward, interacts with the U.S. attorney. I mean, there's got to be agents that work and are working with Weiss in Delaware. I assume there's some interagency cooperation in criminal investigations that include the IRS. How does this all work? So who knows what about Hunter Biden and the greater expanse of Biden Inc. operations? Well, this is a great question, and it's really one of the more frustrating aspects of all of this, because the allegations that have surfaced far outweigh tax evasion. Tax evasion's bad enough. Hunter Biden got a kiss on the forehead, with this plea deal, which hopefully the judge won't accept. But the larger question is, did Hunter Biden and his father and other relatives accept money in a quid pro quo relationship from foreign powers in order to influence policy in the United States? That is an FBI investigation, and that is a Department of Justice, should be a Department of Justice priority goal. We don't get the sense that it is. The question was asked, you've had this information for a number of years. Does it take that long to investigate a case like that? No, it doesn't, and it shouldn't. So somebody's dragging some feet somewhere. Is it coming out of the Department of Justice? Is it coming out of the front office of the FBI? That's not clear yet. The FBI could have, provided evidence of certain things to the Department of Justice, and they decided this is a little too sensitive for the boss. We're not going to do anything. We don't know yet. But these questions need to be answered. They're out there, and simply because a family has control over the presidency shouldn't make them immune from an aggressive investigation where money may have exchanged hands in in consideration of certain favors. We can't run our foreign policy that way.
Well, we can certainly count on Christopher Wray to not have answers to any of those questions. We saw that last week. Kevin Brock, former Assistant Director of Intel for the FBI, former Principal Deputy Director of the National Counterterrorism Center. Kevin, thank you as always. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
It's summertime, and you want to keep the shop, warehouse, and other doors open for ventilation. Air circulation improves the well-being of your employees and customers, but open doors can let in the uninvited, like strangers, birds, rodents, and bugs. Industrial Door Company of Chicago, Inc. can help solve the problem with a full line of commercial screen door products designed with these specific problems in mind. Call Industrial Door Company of Chicago, Inc. now. Also, regular scheduled maintenance is the key, and Industrial Door Company of Chicago, Inc. has multiple levels of maintenance programs for your company's needs and budget. They'll ensure your doors, grills, gates, and dock equipment are working to specification to increase the useful life of your doors. Visit their website to see a range of products and services at industrialdoor.com. Call anytime, 847-258-5620. Their team will be there to assist in designing a solution that works best for you. Since 1982, the Industrial Door Company of Chicago, Inc. takes care of your doors so you can take care of business.
Do you really want to take shots the rest of your life just to lose weight? NJ Diet's typical results are twice as fast as weight loss injections without any of the side effects. Plus, you learn proper portion control and develop healthy eating habits for the rest of your life. By the end of NJ Diet's 40-day program, you will lose 20 to 40 plus pounds, contractually guaranteed. You will lose the weight and keep it off the natural way. NJ Diet uses your hair, saliva, and blood work along with scans to personalize natural solutions and supplements that get your body into the fat-burning zone. Then, NJ Diet uses your DNA info to help you keep the weight off. Locations locally in Skokie and Oak Brook or available with live online video consultations. Don't take shots the rest of your life. Lose weight quickly the natural way with NJ Diet. Call 855-5-NJ-DIET or schedule your consult today at njdiet.com. That's njdiet.com.
Hey, Chicago, do you like great seats? How about on-field pregame access? What if it was free? Now we got your attention. We are proud to bring you the Wintrust Crosstown Series. Whether you're a Cubs or Sox fan, Wintrust wants you to have an unforgettable fan experience. Enter the Wintrust Crosstown Series sweepstakes for your chance to win great seats and pregame on-field access. Go to wintrust.com/crosstown. Chicago's Bank, getting Chicago's fans to the game. Banking products provided by Wintrust Financial Corp. Banks. See official rules at wintrust.com/crosstown-rules. Member FDIC.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Bidenomics has been a boomlet for jobs in the DIE, I call it DIE and ESG spaces. Is that going to be enough to sustain the economy? We'll ask Scott the Cow Guy at 7:07.
Excuse me. And the left wants to reduce our population? Yeah, she said that. Today, some hazy sunshine, warm, a high of 80 degrees. It's 7 a.m. WIND Chicago.
Will they be rescued alive like their grandmother? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Or will they be found dead like their mother? 2 kids swept away in Pennsylvania flooding that also killed 4 others.
We continue to look for the 2 children. We are not going to give up.
Upper Makefield, Pennsylvania Fire Chief Tim Brewer. The kids are 2 years old and 9 months. Their older brother and father escaped alive when the car they were in got washed off a road. Fox Weather's Katie Byrne is there.
When this all happened on Saturday, this area got about 7 inches of rain in 45 minutes, and fire officials were able to save 8 people from their cars and 2 people from that nearby creek. They also say that one of the cars that got pulled into the creek was found a mile and a half away.
And this again in Pennsylvania. There's also flooding yesterday across the state line in New Jersey, prompting the governor to declare a state of emergency. The situation even more dire on the other side of the world. 40 people are dead in South Korea.
This is one of South Korea's most intense monsoon seasons on record. While thousands have been evacuated away from landslides and flooding, the country is reeling from a series of tragedies. Over a dozen people died when their vehicles became trapped in a road in the city of Cheongju. Rescuers are still searching for bodies and survivors.
A section of a bridge linking Russia to the Crimea region it took from Ukraine has been blown up, killing a married couple and wounding their daughter, halting road traffic on a key supply route for Russia for its war in Ukraine. The manhunt for a mass killer in Hampton, Georgia ended in a shootout yesterday with Andre Longmore dead.
Of the 4 victims, all were in their mid-60s and all were neighbors of Longmore. The big question still is why? What was the motivation for this man to begin gunning down his neighbors with a handgun in a quiet subdivision on a Saturday morning?
Fox's Steve Harrigan in Hampton, where 2 police officers and a sheriff's deputy were wounded in that shootout. America's listening to Fox News.
7:02. We have sunshine this early morning. 66 degrees, and air quality alerts are up for several Midwest cities: Chicago, Indianapolis, and Des Moines. The Illinois Department of Labor is investigating after a child was thrown from a carnival ride in Antioch. Police say the incident happened yesterday at the Antioch Chamber of Commerce's Taste of Antioch Carnival.
No problems before, not to this level. That's why concern was brought from the chief of police to the mayor and then to the village administrator, and the decision was made to close down the rides until the Department of Labor could come do their inspection.
Chief of Police Charles Smith, a 10-year-old victim, was airlifted to an area hospital. Bolingbrook couple is dead after a gun accidentally went off over the weekend. Police say Simon Hendrickson was cleaning a firearm Saturday in a home when it accidentally fired a bullet that hit his wife. Simeon then took his own life with the handgun. His wife was hospitalized, later pronounced dead. The incident remains under investigation. The Illinois Supreme Court will rule this week on whether to eliminate cash bail in the state. Here's AM 560's Greg Bishop.
On Friday, the court announced that Tuesday it would release an opinion in the case Roe v. Raoul, the challenge state's attorneys from across the state brought against the SAFETY Act. The criminal justice reform measure narrowly passed in early 2021 and was modified several times. One component on hold because of the challenge removes cash bond as how county prosecutors can assure criminal defendants show up for trial. Kankakee County State's Attorney Jim Rowe led the challenge when the case was heard in March.
And for the sheriff has to ensure effectively the safety of every law enforcement officer under his charge. This act requires them to serve, for instance, notice to appear and then a warrant on 2 occasions. We've now doubled the number of instances where law enforcement is going to come into contact with perhaps a fugitive or a very dangerous individual.
I'm Greg Bishop.
Park Forest police say a grandmother and grandfather have both been charged with first-degree murder after their 5-year-old granddaughter was found unresponsive. Later died at Comer Children's Hospital. Clint Elwoods and Lisa Jones are both charged with first-degree murder. Chicago sports. White Sox rout the Braves 8-1. They took 2 of 3 over the weekend, while the Cubs lost to Boston at Wrigley 11-5. The news, a service of Woodland Windows and Doors in Roselle. Brighten your home and make the rooms in your house look bigger and better with larger windows or patio doors. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your consultation today. 7:04, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk sees an abuse of power.
The state of our media and our regime at this point, their modern-day Pravda, standing up to demand more censorship. The very same agencies that Republicans like Lindsey Graham and others created post 9/11 are now being used against patriots who dare challenge the regime.
The Charlie Kirk Show, afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
I've told you about my lower back pain and how kneeling in church on Sunday was becoming nearly unbearable. Sebastian Gorka here. I've also told you about how Relief Factor has helped almost eliminate my pain. Now, let me tell you what Robert in California says about his experience with Relief Factor. Robert writes, I didn't think Relief Factor was working until I ran out mid-month. After about 3 days, the pain was back to where it started. It was a great test for me to see how much Relief Factor really works. 3 weeks from now, you could be doing the things you enjoy doing and living the life you love. Your first step to becoming pain-free from aches and pains from daily living could be just to order the 3-week quick start for only $19.95. After trying Relief Factor, over 500,000 people have gone on to order more. Go to relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF to find out about this offer. That's relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. Feel the difference with Relief Factor.
Building owners, property managers, and chief engineers. This one's for you.
Hello, this is Bruce Diedrich with Waukegan Roofing, your professional roofer. Everything starts on top. Your investment, your building, and everything in it is protected by your roof. It needs to be in good shape. That's where we can help. If it needs to be repaired or replaced, or you think it might, call us. Let's find out. Here's the number.
847-623-1625.
At Waukegan Roofing, our employees are union-trained roofing professionals with OSHA safety training certifications and have thorough knowledge and expertise regarding the various roofing systems we sell, maintain, and install. We know commercial roofing systems because that's all we do. Over 110 years of doing commercial roofs. Waukegan Roofing has the slogan,
Roofs you can rely on.
Because you can. Here's the number to call.
847-623-1625.
And get the info at waukeganroofing.com. waukeganroofing.com.
The roof was completely gone.
All of our memories being wiped away.
The rain is what got 20 minutes of sheer terror.
And you can feel it in your body.
I watched the fire move down the canyon.
The rumbling of the house.
My son started screaming, we're gonna die, we're gonna die. In the name of Jesus, we are not gonna die.
At Samaritan's Purse, we bring spiritual and physical aid to hurting people around the world. We go into dangerous situations because in disaster, in disease, in war, Jesus calls us to love our neighbor, to heal the sick, feed the hungry, restore the broken. All who work and volunteer with Samaritan's Purse follow the example of Jesus. We go to serve, not to be served. And we go in Jesus' name. Join us at SamaritansPurse.org. That's SamaritansPurse.org.
It is 7:08. Following some breaking news in Pennsylvania, not far from where the flooding is going on, as a CSX freight train has derailed. 15 or 20 cars are off the tracks this morning. Again, this is northwest, far northwest Philadelphia area. And again, we'll keep our eye on that for you as we keep an eye on our roads in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. And we are seeing typical morning delays on the inbound Edens 21 in from Lake Cook Road. On the Kennedy O'Hare into the Circle, it's 44 minutes, while the Ike in is at 54 from 390 into the old post office. Lighter than normal on the Stevenson this week, 33 now from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Hazy sun and less humid. Smoke from those distant wildfires causing some air quality issues today. High near 80. Clear tonight, low 62. And then partly sunny tomorrow. A high again 80. More humid on Wednesday, a thunderstorm. The high near 84. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
7:09. Time to visit signaturebank.bank and time to check those updated temperatures. Sunshine in 67 at O'Hare, 71 along Chicago's lakefront, and your next news update is at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. As you just heard Mike Scott reporting a train derailment outside of Philadelphia, possible hazardous materials spilled. You don't know the details yet, but
I wonder who's going to get to the scene first.
Well,
former President Trump or Pete Buttigieg?
No, P-Bud will be there to assure everybody that he's gay, and so there's nothing to worry about. Speaking of the
that was a good one, Dan.
Land of misfit identitarians that are part of this regime, the Bidenomics rollout, how's it going, you ask? Great question. Well, it's going pretty well because he has great ambassadors for the big ideas that comprise Bidenomics, like his Girl Friday, the number 2, Kamala Harris, explaining the wonders of AI, and she'll tell you what that is in just a second.
Wait, I have no idea what AI means.
The wonders of AI, what it will mean for the future of our economic vitality.
And I think the first part of this issue that should be articulated is AI is kind of a fancy thing. It's, first of all, it's 2 letters. It means artificial intelligence. But ultimately what it is it's about machine learning. And so the machine is taught. And part of the issue here is what information is going into the machine that will then determine, and we can predict then, if we think about what information is going in, what then will be produced in terms of decisions and opinions that may be made through that process.
It really clarifies things. I mean, she's just so conversant on so many topics. She's like a one-woman YouTube explainer video of all the things that you don't understand. It's wonderful.
How degrees she's talking to us like we're in kindergarten. You have a machine, the information goes in the machine.
Mm-hmm. She's explained other features of Bidenomics, additionally, that will benefit you and your children. Cleaner water, cleaner air.
When we invest in clean energy and electric vehicles and reduce population, more of our children can breathe clean air and drink clean water.
Oh, so they finally said it. Population reduction.
We may have to knock some of you out, but the ones that are left, you're really gonna love the water.
We are looking very closely at the severity of the situation. Okay. The severity of the situation is very severe. Therefore, we must take precaution as we assess the severity of each situation.
Pretty good.
That cackle. Even the impersonator. Pretty good cackle. Scott, the cow guy Shellady, joins us now. Market specialist for Market Day Report. 10:30 to 1 Chicago time. Cow guy close 1 to 1:30, both at RFD TV. Scott, the cow guy, do you have a little bit better handle on AI? That's artificial intelligence now that it's been explained.
Yes, it was good that you did it as slow as you did so I could understand. I'd also like her to explain what VP is. We don't have one, and see if she could tell us what a VP does.
Also 2 letters. Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's 2 letters. It's not the president, but it's the vice president. They've largely gone missing because they're supposed to be doing a job on the border. But yeah, what an absolute disgrace. And Bidenomics, by the way, it's Biden nightmare, not Bidenomics. And I constantly double check my work to make sure that I'm not cherry picking just the negative things. We have 2 really big good things that most people will, throw in my face at the tavern when I start to tell them that I think the economy is not doing well, and that's always the jobs number and the stock market. And the jobs number is a conundrum. A lot of folks are having a difficult time trying to explain that one away. But the stock market is largely due to what she was just talking about. We've got a very narrow recovery in stocks, which is artificial intelligence stocks. The NASDAQ had to rebalance over the weekend when 7 stocks out of 100 became more than 50% of the index. They started, they're going to have to start to change some of the things that they do via SEC rules. We have some good things out there, but they're all related to that AI that she spoke about. And other than that, the 2/3 of the American economy is hurting. I mean, interest rates going up on those credit card balances, which are at an all-time record high of $1 trillion. We've absolutely decimated the savings rate. We've got 37% of Americans that have a 401k have now rated it for emergency loans, hardship loans. It's getting to a point now that we are on vapors. The consumer's on vapors. The CIO of Costco has said the same thing. He's noticing folks starting to, cut back and spend a little bit differently on cheaper items, as well as the CFO of McDonald's has said much the same thing. They're not buying that one cheeseburger that you eat before you get home, before your wife knows you even had one. So those types of things are sneaking through, showing some cracks in the system. Bidenomics is not working for 2/3 of America.
Well, it's working in the corporate sector. It's been a boomlet. Maybe this helps explain the jobs numbers. DEI and ESG jobs, as the Wall Street Journal opined, 34,500 LinkedIn search results for diversity and inclusion and sustainability jobs just in the city of New York. They write the boom owes its part to Biden regulations, but the bigger drivers are progressive employees, I should say, who demand their employers indulge their politics, as well as ESG police like BlackRock and Vanguard and so forth. So what about the ESG DEI zeitgeist in the corporate sector?
It's destroying the corporate sector. It's destroying the world. I mean, it largely is driven by Klaus Schwab, the WEF, the World Economic Forum. There was a big protest over the weekend in Ireland about their plans to cull 200,000 cattle because of methane issues. It's already happening in Holland. These types of programs, this diversity, equity, inclusion, and obviously ESG, are absolutely destroying our economy. And by the way, I'll throw in there another one that everybody seems to overlook. But we started it this July. It's already happening in our country. This move towards a central bank digital currency, where you basically there's no cash. You get paid, you get paid on a debit card, but then they'll be able to slowly but surely know everything about your life. There will be no cash.
Well, I want to get to that digital currency, but just a little bit more on BlackRock and Vanguard, because Jim Jordan, House Judiciary Committee, sent letters to the Glasgow Financial Alliance for Net Zero, Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street last week. He was joined by other reps like Thomas Massey of Kentucky, Dan Bishop, North Carolina, suggesting that there is potentially collusion afoot among these entities to impose their ESG DEI mandates on those they have financial influence, if not control over, and this could potentially be violative of U.S. antitrust law. What's your take on that? What is your take on BlackRock and Vanguard, and how much of a weight they're putting on the economy through their politics?
It's definitely not good. It's Larry Fink, and he's able to express his own personal interests using your own stock. I mean, a lot of folks don't realize that he's able to control a lot of how these corporate boards run, because they themselves own a lot of stock and by proxy vote for others, and so that they have the sway that can change the way that people are doing their business. And it's not good, because equity, the ESG folks, that is not the best interest of the shareholder. It's something to make you feel good. They're two totally different things. One is financial. The other one is more personal, or it's a feel-good thing. And we're starting to mix the two, and it's not good. And I rail against it on my show here almost every day. And there are a few that will write in saying there have been studies done saying that ESG stocks have performed as well as other stocks. But I'll say this. Maybe they should have performed a lot better, because you're investing on feelings, not facts. You're investing on what you think's better for the environment or for the country, rather than, is this thing make a widget that does something good and everybody's going to need to have? Those are two totally different ideas, and one of them is being forced down our throats because they are able to get people in government. Brian Deese, the guy that just left the Biden administration, he was a BlackRock guy making $5 million a year in charge of their ESG division. Okay? He's the one that gets those things. He was the one that's got those things in there. I don't know whose replacement was, but I'm sure they're just as bad. But that's what's happening to all governments around the world. In Holland, in Ireland, they get a few people from the World Economic Forum that sign up to this ESG, DEI garbage, and slowly but surely start to change the shape of your own country. And these people weren't even elected to anything.
Well, I want to just follow up on this too. I don't want to get into conspiracy theories, so I'm just asking, with respect to what we know to be true. So you mentioned the World Economic Forum and BlackRock and Vanguard, and of course Larry Fink is part of that cabal. And we talk a lot about Chinese communist interests buying up property here and other interests buying up property near military bases, and this is a concern. Is it true that BlackRock and Vanguard are buying up a lot of residential properties in the country and, essentially potentially setting the table to set up their own sim cities that would exercise even more essentially governance over the American people than they are now with their financial influence?
The research would suggest that, yes. But I'll take one. I mean, they've already named it, Dan. They call them 15-minute cities, where everything that you need is within 15 minutes of you. You will not have a car. You'll have nothing. You'll rent, and you'll be happier, apparently. Mm-hmm. This whole, everybody gets, watch HGTV one day, and you'll see tiny house this, tiny house that. Tiny houses, that was driven by programs out of the WEF, everybody downsizing. And while it was probably a misstatement where she made a mistake, pollution versus population, population is absolutely, in black and white, they want to reduce the population at the WEF. This is all part of getting rid of the excess amount of people they believe are on this earth because they believe it's overly taxed by humans, and then they want to then have this utopia for the elite that, after everybody else has been killed off. And I'm talking, if we have 8 billion people-ish on the planet, they're talking they think it should only be 500 million.
Oh, my gosh. Well, speaking of spaces, a lot of downtown office buildings are empty, and a lot of companies are underwater, can't pay the mortgage. What do you envision happening to downtown Chicago, New York, L.A.?
I think, when I was a professor of finance in 2015 at DePaul down in Chicago, right there in the Loop, and we did a study on the books of the city of Chicago, and I would have said back then, in 2015, they were structurally bankrupt already. They were just moving around. It was a shell game then. Now it's even worse. There is no way out. And I think that ultimately you're going to have some sort of reprice, reset for Chicago. It's a beautiful city. It's sad, but this is that's the culmination of 80 years of one-party rule. This is it's bankrupt. It's over. I mean, we can all sit here and when they go to work every day, those aldermen, all they're doing is arguing about what to do with the deck chairs on the Titanic. That's the best way I could put it.
And your outlook, now that you have the conventional wisdom among the gaggle of economists who are considered when this reporting occurs, saying, probably not recession. Where do you come down? It's going to be, it's sort of what you said earlier is it's going to be a recession for 2/3 of the people and not for 1/3, which nets out to a recession. But your outlook for the rest of the year, both in terms of markets and the overall economy?
Look, bankruptcies this time versus the corporate bankruptcies versus this time last year are up 93%. I told you 37% of Americans are rating their 401ks. All of the information that we get says that there will be a recession. We're now just having an argument about when. And some of the scholars called it a little bit early. I think it looks to be, Kobach came out with a big report last Thursday and Friday saying they think it'll happen in the fourth quarter sometime. I'm not going to get into the semantics about exactly what time we're going to have one, but it's the consumer is the only thing propping up our economy right now, and they're doing it on vapors. It will ultimately at some point in time run out, and that's the problem. Wait till you see all these student loans have to get paid. They're going to pull out $14, $15 billion a month out of the economy with everybody having to re-up and start paying their student loans. There isn't any relief coming around the corner. This is a ruse. It will all come to fruition. Whether it's in the fourth quarter of this year, first quarter next year, doesn't really matter. It's going to happen. And again, 2/3 of America are not getting by right now.
He is the host. He's the market specialist for Market Day Report, 10:30 to 1 p.m. And the Cow Guy closed 1 to 1:30 p.m. Both RFD TV, Scott the Cow Guy, Shalady. Get him at RFD TV. Scott, as always, thank you.
All right, see ya.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer. Cable news. Noisy, out of touch, on repeat. Tired of all the lookalikes? So are we. Salem News Channel is here to change the game. Streaming 24/7, free on your TV with the greatest collection of conservative voices. Home to Dinesh D'Souza, Andrew Wilkow, Brandon Tatum, and more. Like you, we say what's wrong and what's right. Unfiltered and unapologetic. Salem News Channel. We're the answer to the mainstream media. Learn more at snc.tv.
All right, 47 million listeners have no or unscorable credit and would benefit from a Team Hochberg Fresh Start secured credit card with no annual fee. You know, I should read these before I read these. A Team Hochberg Fresh Start secured credit is perfect for an ex who destroyed your credit, or if you recently filed for or were discharged from bankruptcy, experienced a foreclosure or short sale, have collections. If you were turned down for a credit card for one of your kids having trouble securing their first credit cards, this is really fun. Team Hochberg has partnered with Kane County Teachers Credit Union to offer the Team Hochberg Fresh Start secured credit card with no annual fee to help reestablish, enhance, and strengthen listeners with no damaged or challenged credit. For more information about obtaining a Team Hochberg Fresh Start secured credit card with no annual fee, go to 56david.com/fresh start. That's 56david.com/fresh start to establish, enhance, and strengthen your credit. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but they can't help you if you don't visit 56david.com/fresh start. Lower.com equal housing letter. NMLS 1124061.
Rest easy knowing your savings are secure and earning you more with a Wintrust MaxSafe account. With MaxSafe, you get up to 15 times the standard FDIC personal protection. That's right, 15 times the protection with the ability to secure up to $3.75 million per account holder. Now that's banking as it should be. Call 833-MaxSafe to talk with a local Wintrust banker today. That's 833-MaxSafe. Peace of mind is just a phone call away. Banking products provided by Wintrust Financial Corp Banks. Member FDIC. See FDIC.gov for deposit insurance coverage rules.
Retirement planning can be complicated. From asset and legacy protection to retirement income and extended care, you need a plan. Tune in to Retirement and Income Radio, hosted by well-known Chicagoland financial educator Mark Kohler. Mark helps listeners in or near retirement protect their savings from market volatility while creating lifetime guaranteed income. Listen to Retirement and Income Radio Sunday afternoons at 3:30 on AM 560 The Answer, or call Mark now at 844-619-SAFE.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I ran this by my doctor. I always run it by her, everything I take, and I told her I've been taking this for a while. Is this okay to take? She goes, oh, this is wonderful for you to take. Keep taking it. She goes, I approve this. This is very good. So she said, yes. She said, this is one thing you can take that's very good. I'm not going to stop taking Balance of Nature.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com. For a limited time this summer, get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
And Doug. With Liberty Mutual, you can customize your car insurance to save hundreds. Here's what those savings sound like in dollar bills. Here's what it sounds like in quarters. And here's what that sounds like in cryptocurrency, a thing I totally understand. 1010, I am money, cha-ching, beep boop, $sign.
Only pay for what you need at LibertyMutual.com. Savings may vary, underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates, excludes Massachusetts.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
The Venture X card from Capital One gives you premium travel benefits, perfect for seeing Taylor Swift The Eras Tour. Presented by Capital One. Ooh, I do love her. Earn 5 times miles on flights and 10 times miles on hotels through Capital One Travel.
Enjoy your stay in Suite 13.
Whoa, 13? That's Taylor's lucky number. The Venture X card from Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We didn't get to it, so I want to. The interaction between Tucker Carlson and former Arkansas governor and GOP presidential candidate Asa Hutchinson at the Family Leadership Summit in Des Moines over the weekend. We'll do that at 7:37.
And we'll take your calls too, 312-642-5600. But now let's head into that newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
7:31, 66 degrees. Homes being evacuated. Early this morning, after a train carrying hazardous material derailed outside of Philadelphia. It's a 40-car CSX Norfolk Southern freight that derailed in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, around 5 a.m., prompting emergency crews to respond to a suburban area known as White Marsh Township. That 40-car CSX train derailed, prompting crews to continue to respond. At least 5 people have been killed in Pennsylvania, the result of flash flooding in the region near Bucks County. Bucks County searchers add that 2 children are still missing.
So far, we've had 7 missing people, 5 have been recovered. With the 5 deaths due to the floodwaters, mass casualty incident like these, which we have never seen before, unbelievable and devastating to all the families involved. We are all grieving.
Local and federal authorities are assisting in search and rescue. Heavy downpours are lashing South Korea. That for a 9th day, as rescue workers struggle to search for survivors in landslides, buckled homes, and swamped vehicles. 40 have died. An attack before dawn damaged part of a key bridge linking Russia to Moscow-annexed Crimea. It was taken illegally by Russia and holds key supply routes for Kremlin forces in the war in Ukraine. A Bolingbrook couple is dead after a gun accidentally went off over the weekend. Simeon Hendrickson was cleaning a firearm Saturday inside of a home when it accidentally fired a bullet that hit his wife. Simeon would then took his own life with that handgun. The wife was rushed to a nearby hospital. She was later pronounced dead. The Illinois Department of Labor investigating after a child was thrown from a carnival ride in Antioch yesterday.
No problems before, not to this level. That's why concern was brought from the chief of police to the mayor and then to the village administrator, and the decision was made to close down the rides until the Department of Labor could come do their inspection. The 10-year-old victim was airlifted to a nearby hospital. A 15-year-old boy is seriously hurt, struck by a vehicle while riding a bike on the southwest side. The teen was riding Saturday night when he went through a red light and was struck by a car in the 4600 block of West 63rd. The boy remains hospitalized. No citations were issued to the driver. White Sox won their series with the Braves with an 8-1 rout of the best team in baseball, Atlanta, on Sunday. Cubs got knocked around for 14 hits in an 11-5 loss to Boston. The news service of MyPillow. MyPillow employees want to thank you by giving you the lowest price in history on their MyPillows. Queen-size MyPillows, regular price $69.98. Now only $19.98 with promo code LIBERTY. Visit MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Brandon Tatum is fired up.
You are a complete fool, and I would argue a complete coward, if you do not at least acknowledge and admire what was done to gain our independence. You are a complete coward if you decide that it's not worth celebrating 1776 and our independence.
The Officer Tatum Show. Weeknights at 7, right before Jay Sekulow at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm older and I have more energy, just like all the commercials that I see on TV. So it really is a help to my well-being.
I'm 80 years old. I clean up after 450 kids in the cafeteria for 3 hours, and then I clean 300 steps, and then I vacuum carpets and clean halls in 5 hours because for an 80-year-old, that's a lot to do. And I still have energy after work. I consider it a great success.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. For a limited time this summer, get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, straight lines seem wavy, like when looking at a door frame. For others, blurry or missing spots can make it hard to read or see loved ones' faces. Many have trouble seeing in low light, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you've been diagnosed with AMD and notice vision changes, don't wait. Talk to your eye doctor about GA today. Learn more at gawon'twait.com. That's gawon'twait.com.
If you speed, there are lots of sounds that you might hear, like the sound of your vehicle crashing, because eventually, speeding catches up with you.
7:38. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And we're looking at an accident in Lombard, Swift Road and North Avenue. Plainfield, an accident with injuries on Route 126, just west of Drowden Road. Tri-State Tollway, bad accident with 2 right lanes blocked. Southbound on 294, just after Chicago Road. And right now, the Dan Ryan jams inbound between 47th and the Stevenson. Eisenhower, tough sledding, 17th into Pulaski Road, so through the avenues, tough this morning. Kennedy inbound 75 from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. And there's an accident with a left lane blocked inbound between Canfield and Nagel. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Less humid, hazy sunshine, a high near 80, clear and 62 overnight. 67 in sun at O'Hare, and your next news update at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. America First with Sebastian Gorka, today at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So going back to that Family Leadership Summit over the weekend where Tucker Carlson interviewed the major Republican candidates for president with the exclusion of former President Donald Trump, who didn't show up. One of the back and forths that received a lot of chatter, a lot of commentary, was Tucker Carlson with former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson. And again, sort of like our conversation earlier in the program about the back and forth between Tucker and Pence on Ukraine, it's not so much that Pence presents much of a chance to be the nominee, and certainly Asa Hutchinson presents even less chance. But it's about the quality of the back and forth on a relevant topic. Ukraine, January 6th in the with respect to Pence, and ASA Hutchinson vetoing legislation as governor that would have prohibited puberty blockers and mutilation of children. Legislation that we've all seen passed, signed into law in other states governed by Republicans to protect children from the Lavender Bund. Here was that back and forth. First, Asa Hutchinson explaining his veto that I just described.
And whenever you look at children and what they're challenged with in life, I think it's important that in the most sensitive issues that parents are able to guide them through that challenge. And so I don't like the schools pushing transgenderism. I don't want the schools, for example, when President Obama issued the order from the Department of Education that you ought to have bathrooms in the schools that the children can choose what their gender is and go to which bathroom they think they are that day. I said that is not consistent with the law. I said that...
but you said that children should be able to choose their gender and their parents should be able to affirm that, and the state has no role in getting involved. So how is that different? You're saying that a child shouldn't be able to choose a bathroom, but he can choose his sex? I don't understand.
Let me finish what I said. Let me finish.
Oh, I hope you will.
If you don't mind.
Well, please do.
And the finish is that I told Obama they were wrong. I said it publicly that the school districts can ignore that guidance. And so that's where I think the government should not be pushing an agenda in our schools. And that's what I oppose. And so I want the government to stay out. I want the parents and communities and our faith to guide us through these difficult decisions.
Okay.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
I'll let Asa finish some more because he walks himself into a bit of a corner that prompts a critical question. Here's his defense of that veto, ongoing defense in this discussion of that veto, explaining his deference to parents here. Just doesn't want the government involved. Let's defer to the parents. What's wrong with that?
These are fundamental principles that parents have to have information. They shouldn't be denied the ability to know what's going on in the school with a child. And then they make the decision. They can go to the doctor if the child is suicidal, if the child is struggling. They discuss hormonal treatment that would delay puberty. I don't think this government should come in and tell the parents, you can't give the child a vaccine, or you must give the child a vaccine, or you cannot give them the treatment that you think is important in discussion.
And I think you're a person of good faith, and I'm not attacking your motives at all. I'm just trying to get to what they are, and I will stop with this. But you have repeatedly described delaying a child's natural progression from childhood to adulthood through adolescence. You described that as, quote, treatment. And so that raises clearly you've answered the question. You believe it's treatment. You believe, I suppose, that people can change their sex. Because if you don't believe that, you wouldn't call it treatment, would you?
Is it treatment? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro, text line. And is this an issue? Because Asa Hutchinson was at first dismissive, like, I hope we can talk about real issues, and Tucker pushed back saying, oh, this is a real issue. This is definitely on the agenda. But Asa Hutchinson didn't want to talk about it, and then that question was put to him, right? I mean, you keep calling it treatment, and so it's not abuse, it's treatment. And this is something that parents should be able to do. And by definition, that means you believe that people can choose their sex, right? Is it treatment? Big question. Here's Asa's answer.
And how many COVID...
God created two genders, and that's what I have stated. And whenever you look at the decisions on that, no, I don't I don't support that. I wouldn't make that decision in my family about changing genders. And I don't believe that taxpayers' funds should be used for transgender surgery or treatment through Medicaid or Medicare or in our military. I don't believe that that should happen because traditionally, whether it's the Hyde Amendment that you prohibit funding of abortion with taxpayers' dollars because it violates the religious commitment of many people, the same principle should apply here.
I wouldn't do it personally. I don't believe in it personally.
I believe in two genders.
But it's not my place to tell someone else. Does that remind you of any other issue, of any other cop-out argument on any other issue? I wouldn't do it personally. I don't believe in it personally, but I'm certainly not going to stand in the way of anybody who wants to do that to their kid. 312-642-5600, TurnKey.pro answer line. 64636DA, TurnKey.pro text line.
Sounds a little bit like Bruce Rauner. Remember when he wouldn't commit to, those are social issues. I want to talk about the economy.
Yeah, but what specific issue?
Oh, abortion.
Right, abortion.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm opposed to abortion, but I'm certainly not going to
stop somebody else from getting one.
That's not my decision. Well, I mean, it comes down to sort of the prefatory questions. It's either life or it's either life, and it's the taking of a life, or it's not. So is it the taking of a life? If you say yes, then it logically follows that you would say, well, that does have a place for government to protect life because of the intrinsic rights, our God-given rights that are attached to that life, right? Once you concede it's life, that supersedes all other arguments, which is why the pro-abort left never concedes its life. Once you concede its treatment, as ASA Hutchinson did, well then, right, obviously it's just another treatment. Treatment I wouldn't choose, but it's just another treatment, so it's legitimate. If you say it's abuse, well then government has to step in to prevent the abuse of minors at the hands of adults. Doesn't the government have to do that? So if you concede its life, then government has a role. Because we're talking about the rule of law. We're talking about not victimizing people. Once you concede its abuse, if you believe that, if you understand that, then government does have a role. And you can't do I'm personally against child abuse, but I certainly wouldn't stop anyone else from abusing their child. That's the position you want to take? I'm personally against child abuse. But hey, far be it from me. The state has no business if a parent wants to abuse their child. No matter how well-intended that parent is. If it's well-intended, but it's abuse, it's abuse. Munchausen by proxy is abuse. Right? So that triggers government protections, doesn't it? 312-642-5600, TurnKey.pro answer line. 64636DA, TurnKey.pro text line. So important to get to the fundamental question, the premise from which a person is starting that implicates what logically follows. And Tucker did that with ASA Hutchinson. And it's really illustrative of this issue and cultural issues more generally. Cultural issues which a lot of Republicans like ASA Hutchinson don't consider real issues and don't want to talk about and want to run away from. And that's what the Republican Party in so many respects did over the last 2 and 3 generations, which is why you find yourself and why we as a country find ourselves in this morass where you can't believe what is actually happening. You can't believe what parents are doing to their children. You can't believe what teachers are doing to children without the parents' knowledge, purposefully without the parents' knowledge. You can't believe it's all happening. Well, when you concede the premises of the left, you're going to get their outcomes. And that's something in particular the Republican Party in Illinois has never seemed to internalize. And the results are there is no Republican Party in Illinois. So if that's what you'd like to see at the national level, keep it up. Take the ASA Hutchinson path. Take the Illinois GOP path. Disarm in the face of these cultural warriors on the left. That's what they want you to do. Of course, it's easier. Why fight it out if you could just have your enemy surrender, which is what Republicans have done in states that are dominated by the left. Clicking? Dots connecting? Dave in Detroit, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, my question for Republicans that think parents should have the right to surgically change their kids' gender. Around the world, there's a long-held practice of circumcising female daughters, small girls, and that's illegal in this country. Does that mean that should be legal too? Should parents, especially immigrant parents who, just following their culture, should they be able to? Should we change the law so that they can circumcise their young daughters in this country?
Right. Thanks for the call, Dave. Right. I mean, that's a decision between a parent and a daughter, right? A clitorectomy. Ayan Hirsi Ali has spoken about that gruesome practice in Muslim-dominated African countries. She is a victim herself.
Yep.
Somalian. Yeah, what about, right? Asa Hutchinson, that's just the decision between a parent and a daughter. As if there's a decision between a parent and a minor.
Parents don't even have to. In California, parents don't even have to know.
Well,
in Illinois, they don't have to know.
Yeah. But the argument from the right, not the left. The Asa Hutchinson argument, like parents. I mean, he starts from a premise that parents and their minor children are on equal footing. There's no power relationship there. How absurd. While saying, of course, I wouldn't choose that for my family.
Such a cop-out.
It's a total cop-out.
Total. Oy.
Steve in Oswego.
Hi, Jan and Amy. Thanks for taking the call. It sounds like Asa Hutchinson is literally trying to take just about every position on this issue, which means she's going to be weak. What we need is somebody who has a strong history of being consistent and not quitting fighting. Trump is not that person. When it comes to social issues, he's willing to give up. DeSantis is somebody who will fight, perhaps to a fault, but he will fight.
Thanks for the call, Steve. Yeah, I mean, it should be noted that the left is lying to you. Lying to you. And politicians like Asa Hutchinson and the Republican Party want to help the left lie to you. That's what he's doing. Here was that dude who's number 2 at HHS, who goes by Rachel Levine.
Oh.
This was an interview he gave to Nightline just last week. And remember, this guy's a medical doctor.
And remember, he took his mom out of a nursing home and put her in a hotel. It didn't save other elderly people because he knew. Part of the COVID lie.
Here's what he's saying about essentially all these states that have banned the procedures that Asa Hutchinson wouldn't ban in Arkansas.
What would you say to folks who think that they're being reasonable by saying, why can't children just wait till they're 18?
Adolescence is hard and puberty is hard. What if you're going through the wrong puberty? What if you inside feel that you are female, but now you're going through a male puberty?
The argument is, well, they're too young to know.
I want to make it clear that for prepubertal children, there are no medical procedures done. The standard of care allows them to explore that with therapy.
When you speak out against these bills, what do you cite as the harm?
Well, gender-affirming care is medical care. Gender-affirming care is mental health care. Gender-affirming care is literally suicide prevention care.
So there it is. You have to decide if you think it's treatment or not, because there are implications that flow from the answer to that question. And Rachel Levine, there are no prepubertal procedures.
That's such a bold-faced lie.
critical race theory is not being taught in K through 12? Why do you think they have to lie to you about what is or is not happening? If it's such a positive, if it's treatment, of course we're doing it. We're doing it for exactly the reason that Rachel Levine said, which is, what if you're going through puberty in the wrong sex, in his mind? This is how he would describe it. Puberty's hard, so we may need to stop it for some kids. We may need to mutilate them. He wouldn't say mutilate. We may need to reassign so the outside fits with what they feel. And that's treatment. Why not just embrace it as treatment if you believe it's treatment? But they won't. They lie to say it's not happening. Why? Because they know they can't sell it. Not yet. Not yet. But with ASA Hutchinson's help, maybe they will be able to sell it at some point.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
When you're serious about your concealed carry training and education and are ready to learn from an active police officer with a teaching degree, check out Illinois Concealed Carry Training in Midlothian. You'll learn safe, responsible firearm use, home defense planning, conflict avoidance, situational awareness, and how to remain physically, morally, and financially safe in the event you must use your firearm in self-defense or the defense of another. Weekday and weekend classes available.
I'm Sergeant Gary Carr, police firearms trainer and the owner of Illinois Concealed Carry Training. We'll arm you with what really counts, knowledge and training. All concealed carry curriculums are not created equal. This may be the single most important decision you'll ever make for yourself and your loved ones. Choose between 3 and 16-hour classes that are available both weekdays and weekends. We are your one-stop for concealed carry classes, fingerprints, and legal defense plans.
Register for a class today and get 10% off class fees with promo code AM560. Visit IllinoisConcealedCarry.com. That's IllinoisConcealedCarry.com.
Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be due to low testosterone. Schedule your health assessment with my friends at Low T Center. They now offer the convenience of monitored self-inject at-home testosterone treatments for $155 a month, cash pay, or covered by most health insurance. If you don't live near Low T Center, or you just need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy to get started. Only your first 2 visits are in person. Go to lowtcenter.com to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
When my alarm goes off at 5:30, I'm out of the bed at 5:31. I'm a morning person. I know that it's working. I know that it makes me feel more energetic. It gives me energy to get up in the morning. And I like having that feeling of jumping out of bed in the morning. At my age, if you can jump any place, that's a good thing. I love it.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com. For a limited time this summer, get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk more POTUS politics with Scott McKay, publisher of The Hayride at 8:08.
But now let's head into that newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Illinois Supreme Court to rule this week on eliminating cash bail. Child thrown from a carnival ride in Antioch. A Dallas pastor now to head Rainbow Push as Jesse Jackson steps down. White Sox crush the Braves. Cubs fall to the Red Sox. And WIND. Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
Russia reneges. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, backing out of a deal allowing Ukraine, a major grain provider, to export that through the Black Sea.
This deal has been important for two reasons. Firstly, a lifeline for Ukraine's war-ravaged economy, and secondly, to alleviate a global food crisis. The war initially blocked exports from Black Sea ports, so Russian guarantees of safety have been crucial.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. Now, part of the only bridge linking Russia to the Crimea region it took over was attacked and damaged, killing 2 people, disrupting a key Russian war supply route. It's day 3 of the search for 2 young kids still missing after flooding in Pennsylvania.
We are looking for 2 children from the same family. One boy who is 9 months, one female who's his older sister who is 2.
Upper Makefield Fire Chief Tim Brewer, their mother was among the 5 people killed when the car they were in was swept off a road after 7 inches of rain in 45 minutes. Other cars also swept away. A freight train went off the tracks outside Philadelphia about 5 a.m., prompting homes to be evacuated as a precaution in the immediate area.
We're talking about 15 to 20 cars that have been impacted just within the last 30 minutes or so. We were able to confirm that there were some silicone pellets aboard one or at least a few of those derailed cars.
Shana Ferreira with Fox 29 TV in White Marsh Township, Pennsylvania. Former President Trump, who has a big lead in the 2024 Republican race again, suggests he may skip the first GOP debate next month, telling Fox Sunday Morning Futures.
It's actually not fair. Why would you let somebody that's at 0 or at 1 or 2 or 3 be popping you with questions?
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis remains second in most Republican polls and fundraising last quarter, but amid reports he's reducing his campaign staff, DeSantis tells Fox Media Buzz.
The media does not want me to be the nominee above all else. That will, in the long run, absolutely help me.
America's listening to Fox News. 66 degrees. Right now, sunshine at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A Bolingbrook couple is dead after a gun accidentally went off over the weekend. Simeon Hendrickson was cleaning a firearm Saturday in a home when it accidentally fired a bullet that hit his wife, Lori. Simeon then took his own life with that handgun. His wife was rushed to a nearby hospital where she was pronounced dead. The incident remains under investigation. The Illinois Department of Labor is investigating after a child was thrown from a carnival ride in Antioch.
I know carnival's been going on here for longer than I've been around, so probably 30, 40, 50 years.
Police say the incident happened yesterday at the Taste of Antioch Carnival. A 10-year-old victim was rushed to an area hospital. Rides were shut down. The Illinois Supreme Court will rule this week on whether to eliminate cash bail in the state. The state Supreme Court heard arguments in March from lawyers over the controversial provision of the Safety Act promoted by Governor Pritzker.
Keeping violent criminals in jail, not allowing them to have bail, but taking nonviolent criminals and saying that there's no reason for us to have to pay for you to sit in jail when you can't afford the few $100s to get out of jail.
The state's high court is expected to file its ruling tomorrow morning. An ethics watchdog is calling for an investigation into possible misuse of Illinois Congressman Sean Casten's Twitter account. The Foundation for Accountability and Civic Trust filed the complaint, saying Casten may have used House video, photographs, and press releases in his campaign Twitter account. Chicago sports, White Sox beat the Braves 8-1. Cubs lost to Boston 11-5. The news, a service of the AM 560 Advantage, where membership has its privileges. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Disappointing numbers on China's economy are raising concerns about global economic growth.
United Airlines shares are lower, even though United and its pilots union reached a contract agreement that includes pay increases of as much as 40% over 4 years. Microsoft and Sony have reached an agreement that will keep Activision Blizzard's Call of Duty video game on Sony's PlayStation system after Microsoft's merger with Activision. The Wall Street Journal says a 10-year agreement was reached. Investors are pulling out of Cathie Wood's popular ARK technology-based fund. The Wall Street Journal says the fund has shrunk to roughly $9 billion, even though it rallied more than 50% this year. It appears investors are using the rally to take profits. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
8:05, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Make sure that you never miss a day of Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson when you subscribe to the Chicago's Morning Answer podcast, presented by Signature Bank. Listen to the entire show each day on demand with limited commercial breaks. You can subscribe today for free at 560theanswer.com and click on podcasts or search for Chicago's Morning Answer on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
One of the most important decisions you can make as a parent is where you send your kids to school. But these days, it's never been harder to know which school is best. Public schools have changed a lot, and you might be thinking about sending your child to a private Christian school. But you also know that private school can be expensive, and in this economy, you might think it's not an option. Well, think again. With halfpriceschools.com, you can purchase tuition vouchers for half the price of normal tuition for private schools. For nearly 10 years, halfpriceschools.com has helped families from all over Chicagoland make the dream of private school a reality. And that can be the reality for you and your child too. Just go to halfpriceschools.com, search for a private Christian school near you, and purchase a voucher. It's that easy. Visit halfpriceschools.com. That's halfpriceschools.com.
What does it mean to be pro-life? Picture women living in a welcoming, family-like setting during and after an unexpected pregnancy, going to school or working, learning life skills. Picture a caring Christian staff who walk through these challenges, providing support and guidance. Picture a community of faith-filled supporters who answer the call to support life. That's pro-life at Redeeming Life's Maternity Home Ministry. We are a Christian organization founded to support pregnant women in unexpected pregnancies by offering a home, help, and hope during pregnancy and up to a year postpartum. We are opening a maternity home in suburban Chicago in 2023 and welcome you to learn more about how you can support God's gift of life by supporting women who courageously choose life for their unborn babies. Visit rlom.org for info and opportunities to help furnish this new maternity house and provide a home, help, and hope. Get involved to support life. Visit rlom.org today.
I've told you about my lower back pain and how kneeling in church on Sunday was becoming nearly unbearable. Sebastian Gorka here. I've also told you about how Relief Factor has helped almost eliminate my pain. Now, let me tell you what Robert in California says about his experience with Relief Factor. Robert writes, I didn't think Relief Factor was working until I ran out mid-month. After about 3 days, the pain was back to where it started. It was a great test for me to see how much Relief Factor really works. 3 weeks from now, you could be doing the things you enjoy doing and living the life you love. Your first step to becoming pain-free from aches and pains from daily living could be just to order the 3-week quick start for only $19.95. After trying Relief Factor, over 500,000 people have gone on to order more. Go to relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF to find out about this offer. That's relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. Feel the difference with Relief Factor.
8:09. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg traffic center time. Solid traffic on the inbound Edens Lake Cook Road into the junction, 17 in. Accident, 2 left lanes blocked inbound on the Kennedy between Canfield and Nagel, 71 in. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Kennedy outbound jams up Montrose all the way out to Harlem. Ike inbound, 37 in from the Tri-State to the old post office. Stevenson right now is at about 45 from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan outbound, an accident blocking 2 right lanes involving a motorcycle. It's outbound between the Circle Interchange and the Stevenson. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Less humid, hazy sunshine, and a high near 80 today. 67 at O'Hare, next news 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. And Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, Republican presidential candidate, is making more of an effort in the last several days to appear on the cable news talk shows all of a sudden.
Yeah, because before he reminded me a lot of Hillary Clinton, where she was avoiding the press. Remember that? When,
it just didn't make any sense.
Accessible.
It didn't make any sense why, as we talked to Brett Baer last week, he'd been trying for months to get an interview with DeSantis and had been unsuccessful. It just didn't make any sense that somebody who's as good as he is on the stump, who's as good as he is counterpunching, as we've seen during his time as governor, would be AWOL when it comes to getting earned media on cable news shows, the opportunity to start to, well, not to start to, but to continue to build your brand and your value proposition vis-a-vis Trump and the rest of the field. Well, he's starting to correct that. He was on with Howard Kurtz this weekend on Fox, and he explained to Howard Kurtz why the media doesn't want him to be the nominee, even though Trump is their number one nemesis.
Because I think they know that I would beat Biden and beat him soundly. And then maybe even more importantly, they've seen what I've done with Florida, where we've beat the left on all these different issues. I mean, we've beat them on illegal immigration. We beat them on indoctrination in schools. We've done all these great things. And now Florida, even CNBC is acknowledging we're the top economy of all 50 states. And so I think that they see me as somebody who will actually enact some of these bold things as president. Of course, they don't want that. The corporate press wants the status quo. They want the bureaucracy to be in control. They don't want someone like me to come in and dismantle the administrative state. No way. They don't want me coming in and offering strong policies at the border, or me coming in and reversing things like Bidenomics and the Green New Deal. Yeah. So both from an electoral perspective and a substantive perspective, they view me as this most significant threat to their agenda.
Is that better? Are we getting better from DeSantis? Let's put that to our friend Scott McKay, publisher of The Hayride, contributing editor at American Spectator, and author of the book The Revivalist Manifesto. Scott, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Dan, how are you?
Good. So has DeSantis gotten the message, and what do you think of that messaging?
Well, what I'll say is I agree from a Ron DeSantis perspective with everything he said. I think there's, the part that he leaves out, and I don't blame him for leaving it out, is that Donald Trump gets more clicks and ratings points than Ron DeSantis does. He's a bigger name. And we have a similar dynamic here in Louisiana. There's a governor's election that's going to happen this fall.
Right.
And there's a number of Republican candidates in the race. The Attorney General, Jeff Landry, who is, has Trump, is running at 30% or so in the jungle primary here. And it looks like he's going to cruise to victory because he's going to be up against a Democrat who I don't think can get to 50 in the runoff. But you got all these other Republicans, and the problem is that their constituencies are very similar to Landry's constituencies, but those people like Landry better. And that, I think, is DeSantis's problem. is that he's very much kind of a Trump 2.0. And I'm favorably disposed to DeSantis because Trump. I'm great with Trumpism, but some of the stuff Trump does drives me nuts. And DeSantis, I think, gives you a little bit cleaner, more professional look to the same kind of policies. But I got to admit that I'm in the minority where that's concerned, because most people, I think, functionally agree with something John Daniel Davidson said at the Federalist about a week ago, which was that if people don't accept that the 2020 election was fairly fought, it's very hard to convince them not to run Trump in 2024. And I think that that's the prevailing sentiment among Republicans. I think it's good that DeSantis is getting his name out there and is fighting the battle on the TV airwaves, which is what he's got to do if he's going to change people's minds. But so far, I just don't know that the base vote he needs is going to peel off of Trump anytime soon. And I think that's been the fundamental problem that DeSantis has had from day one.
Well, I just think it's strange because Trump supporters say, DeSantis shouldn't run, but no one ever says that about Nikki Haley or Vivek Ramaswamy or Scott. I mean, it's just they seem to be upset that he's even in the race.
Well, and I think it's because they perceive that DeSantis, is in the same lane as Trump, right? Whereas I don't think they perceive Nikki Haley or Tim Scott or poor Mike Pence, who set himself on fire in Iowa. I guess it was on Friday. They see those candidates as being from the sort of Bush Republican wing of the party. And so, they're okay with those guys being there. Chris Christie, they're okay with those guys being in the race. DeSantis is close to Trump. DeSantis is somebody that I think a lot of Trump people perceive could conceivably peel votes away from Trump. So far, that's not happening. But they want DeSantis to get in line behind Trump and be the guy in 2028. At least most of them. And the fact that he's running against Trump in 2024 is something they don't like to process. They couldn't care less about Nikki Haley or Tim Scott. I mean, some of these people, that might be the vice presidential nominee. But DeSantis has foreclosed that at this point. He said, I'm not a number two guy. So
it seems to me that unless DeSantis's messaging gets a lot more interesting than just the recitation of his record in Florida, to some extent, it's a bit retrospective, which is one of the fair criticisms of Trump, obsessing about 2020, something he doesn't need to spend a lot of time talking about. We remember. So now tell us what you're going to do about it at a federal level, combined with what's been done about it at certain state with certain states where Republicans are in control. But DeSantis has somewhat fallen into that trap too. Seems to me that right now, pending DeSantis doing something more creative, that it's going to take an exogenous event to change the trajectory of the race. So either they sideline Biden and Gavin Newsom enters, and then maybe you say you have Republican voters think a second time, well, if they're going next generation, then maybe we need to do too. And the other thing that isn't being talked about as much is the problem DeSantis has with saying the media and the left is most afraid of me because they know I'll whip Biden, is that the polling doesn't show that. Until there's a clear spread in the matchup, Trump versus Biden and DeSantis versus Biden, he can't credibly make that argument. And right now there isn't.
Yeah, I mean, I think that argument is it's based on demographics and demographic segments. In other words,
but that doesn't
DeSantis
work.
might have a better shot with the suburban women and all that kind of stuff, but. You're right. It's not a convincing message point with the general public. With people who are political junkies and follow this, I think that perception is legit. The problem is, you're in Trump's lane, and yet that's sort of a ruling class narrative, right? Like that. Oh, you can't get suburban women to vote for Trump, and so Trump's a loser, and all this kind of stuff. I've never really thought that was an assumption that you could make, because maybe Americans haven't suffered enough. Urban women might turn around, right?
No, but here's the thing: if DeSantis' campaign had polling that in suburban Charlotte he is running 15 points ahead of where Trump is. That actually is an argument, and it would get him off having to talk about his flailing campaign and staff cuts and not appearing on TV. It would get him talking about who can win the suburbs in these swing states, who has the best chance. If there were real spreads in suburban Milwaukee, suburban Charlotte, suburban Phoenix, then I would think the DeSantis campaign would be trumpeting them. I don't think there are, and that's a problem that the left, as we've seen, is doing a good job. Yeah, they're focusing on Trump and his indictments and the usual tack they take with him, but they're also taking their shots at DeSantis along the way. He's even worse than Trump, the Disney thing. He's radical. He's a misogynist. He's all the things that you would expect them to do, but they can walk and chew gum at the same time. They can attack Trump and DeSantis at the same time.
Right. Well, and I mean, they've crafted this in that, and we've heard this for 2 years now, where, at least Team Biden talks less about Trump per se than about MAGA extremists, right?
Yeah, right.
Which that's a category that encompasses DeSantis as well. So, they've already sort of built the narrative that works for either one of the two. And I think that DeSantis, okay, you might be right that there is no spread. I'm not 100% sure, and I'm not saying that there is a spread. I'm not 100% sure that Team DeSantis has been sharp enough in their messaging that that they do have this data and are not using it. Which
that's even more of an indictment.
Is probably even more fatal, right? So and I'm just not sure about that. I think that when you get Ron DeSantis talking about Florida, with the implication being that, hey, I've already proven that I can do things that Trump didn't get done in his 4 years in office, I don't think that's a bad narrative, but I don't think that it's going to peel Trump voters off when, Trump is continuing to beat on the fact that, hey, they stole my second term. So let me have my second term. And Trump's big thing is, and you can see it over and over again when he gives speeches. Like he did it again over the weekend. He talked about, I didn't hire as well as I should have, and that's really like the number one criticism that people like me have of Trump, which is underperformed. And so if he starts to talk about, look, I can do this better in the second term. I was a little bit of a babe in the woods, right when I went in. You're talking about the art of the deal, right? Overcoming objections to the sale. And that's the number one objection. And if Trump does these things, we can sit here and criticize DeSantis all we want, but at the end of the day, he's trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist with the Republican electorate.
No, that's a fair point. I mean, it's. I'm not saying his position is enviable, particularly now with Trump being being indicted a couple times with potentially more to come. Not only can he sort of gave a mea culpa. Maybe Chris Wray was a mistake, but Chris Christie told me to do it. That's not exactly taking ownership of it, but he also
at least speaking to it a little. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree. And he also has to say, so now I've learned a lot. Now also, who has the most incentive here to take the bicycle chain to the playground inside the Beltway after what the federal government has done to me, raiding Mar-a-Lago, these phony indictments, so forth. I mean, that's a great argument that he has on his side to say there's nobody who's more motivated than me and nobody who knows this better than me because I was president for 4 years. So I get that point. I think it's difficult, which is why DeSantis needs to get a lot more creative, a lot faster, if he's not going to be displaced by Tim Scott, or if we're not going to go through this spin the wheel thing that the Democrats did 4 years ago. Okay, well, we can't have Bernie, so who's up next? We can't have this guy, so who's up next? The same thing that they did. I want to get your take on something else, though, too. My belief from the beginning has been that the cocaine was the guy who used to host Captain Kangaroo, who's now the Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen. That it's hers, and I have more evidence to suggest that it's hers or his. I don't. Whatever. He was a man when he was Captain Kangaroo.
What do you got?
When she was over talking to the Chi-Coms, she was all hopped up on wild mushrooms. This is a story. She gobbled up 4 portions of ginseng, a type of wild mushroom that induces, hallucinations.
Is that why she was incessantly bowing?
She's a junkie.
There was a certain tweaker character to the trip to China that Yellen made, and it was not very appetizing from an American perspective, to be sure. The narrative was, well, we really don't know who the possessor of the cocaine is, and I can believe that because I can look at that White House and I see all kinds of suspects over there.
Yeah, right.
In fact, I said in one of my columns last week is, you may have cocaine communism going on in the White House. That that was a community baggie rather than anybody's in particular.
It couldn't have been pinned on Hunter because he's got a plea deal, and that would have affected that.
Oh no, that's
That's coming
yeah,
up
and we
July.
know Hunter
that's
does
why he's
nothing self-destructive, right?
I like the idea. So it was like a dish of M&Ms. It's just community. It's for everybody. Yeah, I like that.
Well,
that could be like my great aunt's candy jar.
Yeah, the candy dish that's
exactly.
on the
candy dish, right?
Well, let's not put too fine a point on this. I mean, every time they put Joe Biden on television, for anything more than just a quick 30-second hit, you get those jet black pupils that fill up his eye. And I'm not saying it's coke, but it's something that they give him. So,
well, I mean,
coffee table.
That spokeshuman, the deputy to KJP, he could not confirm or deny that it was the big guy's coke. So,
well, to ask these people questions about anything has got to be an exercise in self-torture, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you ask a question about something that people actually care about, and you get directed to some office that refuses to talk to you.
Right.
It's like, you got to talk to the White House counsel's office about that. Well, what do they say about it? You have to talk to them about that. Well, can we get somebody from the White House counsel's office here tomorrow? No, we can't do that.
We can't comment on an ongoing investigation. We can't comment if there is an ongoing investigation. We can't comment it if we exist.
On anything.
Yeah.
It blows me away that the media actually accepts this. And at some point they won't. And at that point, you really are going to have to change Biden out, because without the media running interference for this regime, there is no regime, because there's, you show video of Joe Biden on his various, jaunts around the world where, he has to be led around by the King of England because he has no idea where he is. And that video doesn't make it onto network news broadcasts. The minute it starts making it, and sort of the low information crowd that has heard, this and that about Joe Biden not being all there, but doesn't really pay enough attention to it to go find any of this stuff. The minute they get all of that in front of their eyes, it's the Emperor's New Clothes story, right? It's like, wait, that dude's naked. And I think that the minute that somebody, kind of pulls back that curtain, you're not going to have a candidate that you can run, because most people still out there, like the low information crowd, they still think that he's this kindly grandpa.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Which anyone who pays attention knows that is absolutely 180 degrees away from the truth.
A grandpa who won't recognize his 7th grandchild.
Right.
Yeah.
That dude's
That
naked.
guy, yeah.
That dude's naked, and he's not even a dude, it turns out. Scott McKay, publisher of The Hayride, contributing editor, American Spectator, author of the book, The Revivalist Manifesto. Thanks as always, Scott. Appreciate it.
Dan, Amy, have a good one.
Thanks, you too. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Are you growing your manufacturing team this year and need new employees? Turn to Monarch Technical Services. They've been leading the Chicago staffing industry for manufacturing and engineering since 1987. You'll appreciate their vetting process. They meet every candidate in person to interview and test for specific skills. Monarch assesses experience by using blueprint, shop math, part measurement, and CNC program exams. Their quality skills assessor was once a plant manager who worked on manufacturing equipment, so he recognizes who has the skills to fit each job requirement. Monarch Technical now offers a 30-day free trial with any day one direct hire. This allows you to make sure direct hire employees are fitting in before fees are paid. And they have a unique payment option which allows the finder's fee to be paid in 6 equal monthly payments. So if you're growing your manufacturing team this year and searching for exceptional talent, contact Monarch Technical Services at 847-342-1221. That's 847-342-1221, or online at monarchtechnical.com. That's monarchtechnical.com.
Did your parents ever say nothing good happens after midnight? Well, that's true when the Democrats are passing budgets. At 2:30 a.m. on the Saturday of Memorial Day weekend, Illinois Democrats passed the largest general revenue budget in the state's history. They funded free housing, health care, education, food stamps, legal services, and more for people living here illegally. The Democrat leaders said that the budget reflected their priorities. They also funded legislator pay raises. Now your legislator will make $89,675 for a part-time job. That's a 32% increase in just 4 years. Among the items not funded were immediate replacement of lead water pipes in low-income neighborhoods, despite lead being a well-known health risk, and scholarships for kids in failing schools. Putting the people in office who forward good policy begins by being informed. Subscribe to our newsletter and listen to our podcasts at breakthrough-ideas.com. That's breakthrough-ideas.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Let's do a little entertainment beat with the actors on strike now, too. Controversy over a cover of Tracy Chapman's Fast Car, and a couple of comedians explaining why there are no good comedies coming out of Hollywood anymore. That's at 8:38.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, 67 degrees in Chicago at 8:32 on AM 560, The Answer. We're watching this morning as a CSX freight train derailed in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, early this morning, forcing the evacuation of nearby residents and businesses in the northwest of Philadelphia. A man accused of fatally shooting 4 in Georgia has been killed following a manhunt.
We have a couple of officers that are injured. The most severe has been life flighted to Grady. He was hit in the rear of his back. He is conscious, breathing, and talking at this time frame.
The suspect was accused of killing 3 men and 1 woman Saturday, about 30 miles south of Atlanta. An attack before dawn damaged a part of a bridge linking Russia to Moscow-annexed Crimea. The strike today has forced the span's temporary closure. Meantime, Russia is also halting a breakthrough wartime deal that allows grain to flow from Ukraine to countries in Africa and the Middle East. Canadian police say 1 person has died, another person critically hurt. They were knocked out of a sightseeing gondola at the popular Mount Tremblant Resort. The crash occurred shortly before noon on Sunday. More hot water for progressive Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, apologizing for calling Israel a racist state. The Washington Democrat made the controversial remark during a progressive conference on Saturday, speaking to a group of pro-Palestinian supporters. Air quality alerts are up for several cities in the Midwest: Chicago, Indianapolis, Detroit, and Des Moines. The Illinois Department of Labor is investigating after a child was thrown from a carnival ride in Antioch.
I know this carnival's been going on here for longer than I've been around, so probably 30, 40, 50 years.
Mayor Scott Gartner, the 10-year-old victim, was airlifted to a area hospital. Chicago sports. How about those White Sox, winners of 2 of 3 in Atlanta following Sunday's 8-1 win, while the Cubs were beaten by Boston 11-5. 8:34, A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher sees support waning.
It's Maureen Dowd in the New York Times. Do you recognize the significance of Maureen Dowd from the New York Times turning against Joe Biden? Wow! You understand, these aren't conservative publications turning on him. The liberal media is turning on Biden. He ain't going to be the nominee.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you a driver of a Ford PowerStroke diesel engine? Tired of taking your Ford PowerStroke diesel in to be misdiagnosed or paying for repairs that don't fix the problem? Well, bring your vehicle to the diesel headquarters, Remke's Garage. The shop is equipped with state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment and highly trained technicians. Take it to the experts. Take it to Remke's Garage. Remke's Garage specializes in Ford PowerStroke, Chevy Duramax, Dodge Cummins, Mercedes Sprinter, and Isuzu diesel engines and transmission repairs. At Remke's, they'll make your vehicle repairs convenient by offering a free commercial loaner vehicle.
Remke's Garage, where you won't spend $1,000 to fix a $100 problem. Call for details and to schedule an appointment at 800-5-REMKES or visit remkesgarage.com. Remke's Garage, your diesel headquarters.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Balance of nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I have more energy. I am moving. I am on my feet. I went from taking maximum on a very good day, 3,000 steps. Today, 3,000, 4,000 steps is my minimum. I'm up to 5, 6, 7, 8,000 steps a day.
I have 4 children and 8 grandchildren. They're amazed by my ability to be so energetic and do things. I'm still doing things that I did when I was 25 years old, and I'm 66 years old now. This product is amazing.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. For a limited time this summer, get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
It is 8:38. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center Time, a service of Blindster.com. You may think custom blinds is a job for expensive pros. Well, at Blindster, if you have a tape measure and a screwdriver, you can install their blinds and save big. Plus, they guarantee they'll fit. Blindster.com. Inbound Edens, 24 Lake Cook Road to the junction. The Kennedy, a solid hour 10 from O'Hare into the Burn Circle interchange. Eichen, 54 to the old post office. Stevenson, 53 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan, 27 in 95th into the Circle. Tri-State, accident right shoulder southbound on 294 between Dixie Highway and Chicago. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. A less humid day, hazy sunshine, and a high near 80. 69 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
You get a fast car. I want a ticket to anywhere. Maybe we make a deal. Maybe together we can get somewhere. Any place is better. Starting from zero, got nothing to lose. Maybe we'll make something. Me, myself, I got nothing to prove.
Dan and Amy and Tracy Chapman from 1988, her hit single Fast Car. It's been covered by Luke Combs. You probably heard it.
Yeah, he asked permission to redo the song, and she agreed, and there you go. And it's number 1 on the country charts right now.
Luke Combs' hit cover of Tracy Chapman's Fast Car, as it dominates the country charts, it's bringing up some complicated emotions in fans and singers who know that Chapman, as a queer black woman, would have an almost zero chance at that achievement herself.
What?
Writes Emily Yar, who's a entertainment writer for the Amazon Post. Complicated emotions in fans. Boy, yeah. Because Luke Combs is a honky, and Tracy Chapman's a queer black woman. She would have no chance in 2023 America of achieving the popularity that Luke Combs is enjoying with his cover of Fast Car. Huh. Is that right? Well, when Tracy Chapman recorded it and sang it, and it was in heavy rotation in 1988, she was nominated for 3 Grammy Awards, including Record of the Year and Song of the Year, and she won for Best Female Pop Vocal Performance and Best New Artist.
Well, she was recognized, I would say. So there's no controversy here.
She can't win anything in America. Nobody knows who Tracy Chapman is.
Because she's black and gay with her.
Oh, she would. She's oppressed. Not only that, she's oppressed. Who would she be oppressed by? The leftist music industry? They're so up their own behinds, they can't even put together a logical case for their identitarian nonsense. They can't even. They don't even. I guess they don't even need to try. So what's the point? By the way, while her fans are processing their complicated emotions, according to Emily Yar, Tracy Chapman's emotions not complicated. I never expected to find myself on the country charts, but I'm honored to be there. I'm happy for Luke and his success and grateful that new fans have found and embraced Fast Car. Oh, by the way, she's also received about $500,000 in publishing royalties as part of the remake, as part of her permission to use to cover her song.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
It's just a reminder, again, how unreachable some people are. And so just don't even try. Don't even bother. There are people out there that are reasonable. They're perhaps ill-informed. They're perhaps afraid, but they can be reached. An entertainment reporter from the Amazon Post, there is no there between the ears. There is just political cant where a brain used to be. You can't talk to somebody who's brainless. It's like talking to a jellyfish, or a single-celled organism. So just stop. Don't try. All right, since we're on the entertainment beat, because, there's really not much to it. I think Tracy Chapman probably gets the definitive word on the topic. I can't top her. But since we're on that.
Her dues, right?
Yeah, right. No, she would never be recognized. Yeah. No, she was
silly us.
She'd never be recognized by that patriarchal, honky-dominated music industry, except that she was, 35 years ago. Anyway, so the Hollywood actors are on strike. And
I'm on strike too, by the way.
Oh, you in solidarity?
No, I'm a SAG-AFTRA member.
Why?
Well, because I did U.S. Marshals, and I'm still getting residuals from that. But SAG joined with AFTRA. I was with AFTRA for, oh my God, almost 20 years.
Why would you stay if you don't have to? This isn't a closed shop.
Well, I know I'm being facetious. I still have my SAG-AFTRA card because I'm getting my pension from them when I decide to retire.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, well,
so
you got
don't
enough
be-
years. Was NBC5 closed shop?
Oh, yeah.
Union shop for the
yeah,
for
we
on
were
air
at-
too.
Oh God, yeah.
I know WLS was too. I hated it, but now I don't have to be.
Well, no,
on
you don't have to,
SAG-AFTRA,
but
so
I'm just
not.
saying. So I guess technically I'm on strike. Well, where am I picking? What am I doing?
Yeah, I don't think you want to play that card. But yeah, right. So and well, hopefully, if it lasts another month, the Chicago teachers will go on strike in solidarity with the actors,
Oh yeah.
since they're acting as educators.
Yeah, and all you parents out there, remember it's contract time again.
Well, I think it'll go
I think
fairly
it's going
well
to be
for them.
perfect for them. I don't think there's going to be a strike.
Yeah.
Because we'll give them anything they want.
All right. Before we get to any more on that, oh, and by the way, one of the things thank Kamala Harris for this. One of the things Hollywood actors and writers are demanding is AI protections, and they didn't know about artificial intelligence. That's what AI stands for, until Kamala Harris explained it last week, and that's when they went
You know,
out.
it's an information that goes into a machine.
It's machine learning.
Yeah.
The machine learns stuff and then
Yeah.
spits stuff out, and so on and so forth. Yeah, she explained it all. Just go listen to Kamala. Andy and Hinsdale, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
So I'm calling you from deep in the heart of Central Texas, where all this racism and misogyny supposedly exist. I got to tell you, the supply of or the demand for racism, sexism, misogyny, and hatred in this country is so far outstripping the supply that when the occasional times when they can find it, it's super, super valuable to these social justice warriors, because it's just not around. People just don't care, and the few people in this country who do care, who do think in a backwards fashion like that, you shouldn't care about anymore.
Yeah, thanks for the call. You're right. Tracy Chapman didn't know that she's supposed to have complicated emotions about making $500,000 in royalties for her song, for Luke Combs covering her song. She didn't know she was supposed to have complicated emotions by her great song having another turn at the wheel on the country charts. She didn't know she was supposed to be upset about that. It's great. It really is. It's such good stuff. All right, on Hollywood.
Yes.
So these comedians,
Oh, who are they?
not great. Adam Devine and Theo Vaughn. Adam Devine at Workaholics, and he's
Oh.
got something out on, I think it's Netflix or maybe it's Amazon, Outlaws. I haven't watched it. Anyway, and Theo Vaughn's like a stand-up comedian, and he's done some MTV stuff. Whatever. Theo Vaughn's got a podcast, and Adam Devine was on it, and they were just talking about comedies today, why they don't get made, and why when they do, they're not funny. The dearth of comedy emanating from Hollywood. Here's their explanation as to why. See if you agree.
But then, like, I'm pitching a lot, so I'll, like, pitch movies. And every executive is like, yeah, but why should we make this movie now? And you're like, because it's funny. Yeah. Because it's funny, bitch. What do you mean? Like, whatever happened to just, like, we want to make people laugh? Like, it doesn't need to be...
Right.
Yeah.
Right. There, it doesn't need to attach itself to some like hook in the world right now.
It doesn't. I mean, if it does and that's the movie, then sure.
Right.
But it doesn't always have to. It
No.
could just be like, whatever happened to just, it's funny for funny's sake.
I know. I feel like Superbad was one of the last movies that they kind of had like that in some ways. Like that was really just super funny. Like, I mean, there's been a lot of other funny movies. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying. It was like The Hangover, Superbad. It was like that was sort of the last gasp of,
like, for no reason at all. Like, this is just funny because it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Superbad and Hangover, if you agree with them, are like 15 years old.
Yeah, and there's 3 hangovers, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't disagree with them that it needs to be attached to some cause, and you need to shoehorn some tranny in there or transvestite or something to check all these boxes, some two-spirit person or genderqueer or whatever. And right, and then what am I supposed to think about as a takeaway, as opposed to just because it's funny, as Adam Devine said. But I mean, if I'm trying to think when I said that, like Superbad and The Hangovers, particularly the first one. I'm trying to think of comedies in the intervening 15 years like that really were what they describe or were of the ilk of a super bad or a hangover. And it
I
is.
can't think of one.
I mean, I'm sure there is. Well, although actually, I'm not sure.
No, because everybody has to be politically correct. So how can there be humor in the world? We can't laugh at ourselves anymore.
It's very difficult.
Certain groups of people can't.
Well, maybe they should just stay on strike.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. On AM 560. The Answer.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-333-1750. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-333-1750. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-333-1750. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-333-1750. 800-333-1750 or biglou.com.
Guys, a lot of people talking about testosterone, but do your homework and be sure to visit a provider you can trust. I trust my friends at Low T Center, where I've got my levels checked the past 8 years. At Low T Center, they make it easy. You walk in, take a simple blood test, and with an on-site lab, you get your results back in about 25 minutes. If you've been feeling tired, grumpy, notice weight gain and loss of muscle mass, these could be signs of low testosterone levels. Low T Center is not your typical doctor's office where you have a long wait. It's concierge medicine exclusively for men. They have affordable and convenient options for treatment, including physician-monitored, self-inject treatments that ship directly to you each month, so there's no need to drive to the center for weekly visits. And right now, Low T Center is only $25 to get your T-level tested, so what are you waiting for? Log on now to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment online. That's lowtcenter.com. Tell them Dan Prof sent you when you do. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Want to remodel your kitchen or bathroom? There's only one name to remember: ForEverRemodeling.com. Not Core Ever Remodeling or Door Ever Remodeling or Explore Ever Remodeling. It's ForEverRemodeling.com. Need an addition or whole home remodeling? Don't call 1, 2, 3 Ever Remodeling. It's Forever Remodeling. Want to finish your basement but don't know where to turn? It won't help to think of Store Ever or Snore Ever or Score Ever Remodeling. You want Forever Remodeling. Forever Remodeling is your go-to for the highest quality kitchen, bathroom, whole home remodeling, room additions, and basement finishing. So don't go to Decor Ever Remodeling or Implore Ever Remodeling or Dinosaur Ever Remodeling. When you're ready for your project to take off, go to 1098765 ForEverRemodeling.com. That's the number 4EverRemodeling.com. Or call us at 847-809-3355.
All right, when you give your body the best possible fuel, you have more energy, you're stronger, you think more quickly, and giving your body the best possible fuel is eating a well-balanced diet, and that's eating enough fruits and veggies. And are you doing that? If not, that's where Balance of Nature comes in. Real food, real science, real nutrition, 31 whole fruits and vegetables. The recommended number of capsules to take is 6, 3 fruits, 3 veggie capsules. I crack mine open into warm water, and voila. People that take it have increased energy, ability to keep doing the things that they love as they age, and you get addicted to it. I love it. I mean, I crave it every day. So get the nutrition your body needs. Get Balance of Nature. 800-246-8751. That's the number to call, 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago. First-timers get free shipping, 20% off. And you can also go online to balanceofnature.com, but be sure to use discount code Chicago.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. Your business and your money are in good hands with Signature Bank. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Dan Migatz, co-owner and CFO of AM Woodland Outdoor Design in Mundelein, and a new customer of Signature Bank. We specialize in the creative design and construction of outdoor living spaces, providing our residential and commercial customers first-in-class landscaping services. Our company was founded as a one-man operation and today has grown into a multifaceted, one-stop shop for outdoor and indoor design and contracting needs. Signature Bank was there to provide the capital needed to grow our expansion efforts. We wanted to work with a bank that understands our business and is relationship focused. Signature Bank is what a relationship bank is all about. We're excited to continue our partnership for many years to come.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality. Visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Christian Brothers Automotive Repair Shop is a proud partner of AM 560, The Answer. Hi, I'm Johnny Strazak, operator of Christian Brothers of Barrington, dedicated to treating customers right. As auto shop technicians, we know how frustrating it is to have a car that doesn't work, and how it's even worse when you can't identify what the problem is. But don't worry, our ASE certified technicians can help get you back on the road in no time. Our locally owned and operated automotive repair shop in Barrington has deep roots in the community. We are proud to give our customers the same care and quality we give our family and friends when you come into Christian Brothers Barrington Auto Repair. We offer free vehicle pickup and drop-off services, free check engine light courtesy scans, free brake inspections. We also offer a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty, whichever occurs last. And in addition, we work on fleet vehicles and are approved for extended warranty work. Go to cbac.com/Barrington to book your service appointment. Christian Brothers Automotive Repair Shop is located at 908 South Northwest Highway in Barrington. That's cbac.com/Barrington.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, straight lines seem wavy, like when looking at a door frame. For others, blurry or missing spots can make it hard to read or see loved ones' faces. Many have trouble seeing in low light, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you've been diagnosed with AMD and notice vision changes, don't wait. Talk to your eye doctor about GA today. Learn more at gawon'twait.com. That's gawon'twait.com.
Structural foundation problems? Permaseal can help. Hi, I'm Roy Spencer, president of Permaseal. Last year's severe drought has homeowners across Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana experiencing symptoms of structural foundation issues. Cracked brickwork or caulking, uneven floors, new cracks in the drywall or ceiling, doors or windows that no longer open or shut properly, or basement walls that are leaning or bowing. All of these can be signs of a structural foundation issue. Too often we hear of homeowners paying for an expensive consultation just to determine the problem. Don't be one of them. Call Permaseal today at 800-421-SEAL. Our certified structural consultants will thoroughly evaluate your foundation and offer you a permanent solution at absolutely no charge. Life's frustrating enough. Let's fix what we can and avoid even bigger problems. Call Permaseal today, 800-421-7325, or visit permaseal.net.
AM 560, The Answer.
Trying to think of notable comedies in the last decade. Jason from New Lenox texted in with Tropic Thunder, which was great. Couldn't be made today. Robert Downey Jr. in blackface, no chance. But that's 2008. So, and I'm talking about like comedies like, I'm not talking about like Wes Anderson, like offbeat comedies. I'm talking about comedies like Superbad or Hangover. So I got two. I'll run these by you.
Okay.
21 Jump Street, the remake, which was good. Jonah Hill.
Yeah.
That was good. And the other guy, you know, the good-looking guy who was in the male stripper movie. What's his name?
Male stripper movie.
Channing Tatum. That's it.
Okay.
And then the other one is The Return of Eddie Murphy, Dolomite.
Oh.
Now that was like that was very raunchy, but it was funny. But I mean, the other thing that Adam Devine and Theo Vaughn were pointing out is there just not as many made, right? Of course there's not as many made. They were saying like it used to be like 4 dozen in a year, and now it's maybe a half dozen in a year. And of course, because as he was talking about with the pitches, like, okay, what's this connected to? What political issues that connect to? How is this relevant to now and the battles we're waging now? And like, because it's funny, but that's not the movies that get green lighted, and so you don't see them. And we live less humorous lives as a result.
Yes.
Mel Brooks, no career in Hollywood today. That's
No
where our
way.
culture is.
All right, thanks so much for making us part of your morning, part of your lives. Thanks to Justin Kosick and Quinn McCarthy. We're back here bright and early tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Now let's jump into that newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
The Illinois Supreme Court to rule